achievement in there. There you go.
I know,
Let's
right?
get it.
Here we go. Hey, everyone.
What is up?
Welcome to Thursday. You can tell it's officially Thursday because Adam and Ryan are here.
Hell yeah. Welcome and thanks for joining us tonight. Hopefully, oh, Ryan. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. 17
months, sir. Those that GIF has held up.
Withstood the test of time. That AI animated GIF from like Runway, maybe from like
oh man,
over a year
we need
ago.
to spend a day doing that for sure. Like we gotta get our
we need
whole
like a
account
working
set
we need
up.
like a working weekend.
Gotta reward those people. Hey, Stealth Mouse.
Yeah, hey,
saw you
Stealth.
out there with the dancing T-Rex. Who else is with us tonight? Let us know if you're out there.
Yeah.
Jump up in the chat. Ryan and I have been chit-chatting for what? Man, you got here a little earlier today for about 30 minutes. And so we've been hanging out. We got a good show for you like we always do. Yeah. And we've adapted the format a bit. We have a big hour-long talk tonight that we're going to talk about.
The deep dive we're going to do.
The deep dive. Ooh, I like that.
Right.
So we're going to call it the deep dive. That's the segment. And we will still have to get, what was the after hours one we were going to talk about? Was it after hours?
No, maybe.
I can't remember. Last time we talked about the after the show. It was the something version.
Nice.
B-sides. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go. So as far as tonight's show, of course we're going to have some AI topics to talk about, but we'll talk.
There's a couple really interesting ones in the news, I felt like.
Absolutely. Deep dive. You can keep deep
deep
dive. Oh yeah, the rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole. There was the rabbit hole.
I did like that one.
Oh my god, it was good. Hey, this is a new thing for us, and so we need your feedback because you're experiencing the show through Pop! !OS. This is a Linux build.
Pop! OS.
Yeah, Pop! OS tonight. And
shout out to my Pop! OS.
And we're trying new things on the show. I have some older machines that was running the show and the stream, and it was getting close to not being able to be upgraded to Windows 11. And I said, you want to try something new? Do I want to go down the path of Linux? And so that's what you get tonight. So if there's any issues, any stutters, anything that seems a little off, please let us know. Think about it as you're helping us through. You're learning as we go.
The 2.5 hour long beta running Linux on the server. Great job though. Like, I feel like that that is not an insignificant thing to have to figure out and do, and it seems to be running great. So great job.
I appreciate it. Knock on wood. We'll see how it goes for the night. We'll share a little bit of technical details for the nerds out there that want to learn about this. And let me tell you, I am not the deep nerd that you may think I am, but I try to pretend I am some nights.
Oh, whatever.
But okay, so the couple topics we want to talk about is the deep learning used to speak, which I thought was really cool. We'll talk a little bit about that. We have ways that AI makes decisions. There's been some research journals that had been written about how Anthropic has been looking at that topic, measuring or trying to look at behind, under the hood. And then Ryan had some topics.
Just like Shopify CEO put out didn't put out his internal memo got leaked that talks a little bit about how they think about AI inside companies, which I think is probably indicative of where other companies are going. And then Adam had a game that we could play.
AI Copilot Quake. If you have not heard about it, I'm so excited because Ryan gets to play it. Oh my god, it's I'm really hoping it all works. But you play it in browser. You only have like a minute's worth of playtime before the whole thing falls apart.
So it's like AI creating a game, right?
In real time, you will be playing a game that AI is creating.
Nice.
And it's Quake 2, frame by frame. We'll get some hot takes as well from what everyone's been saying because I'm surprised you hadn't heard about it because everyone's been talking about it behind the scenes. We'll get a little bit of
I love it when that happens.
The reactions to it. And then as far as the topic tonight,
big topic.
This is the thing. Ryan and I have been talking about this, and you're going to see more of this. So we're testing out this format. We love to just get your feedback as well if you have any insights. But we're wanting to go a little deeper dive on some of the topics that are out there. This one is called Modern Loneliness. So connected, but so alone. you know? And so the concept is that, you know, we have all these devices, these things that we are on and can connect with, social media to work through. But in a certain case, we also feel alone doing that. So we're going to get into it.
Yeah, you know, I feel like that is a very relevant topic, you know, recently, especially with AI stuff coming into it and all of that. Like, what can we do about it? You know, what are interesting things to talk about in like the time and age that we are in? I feel like it's a cool topic. When you brought this up, I was like, that is an interesting topic that I would like to talk about.
And so we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna test it out. Ryan and I have some thoughts on it. We also have some notes that we took. So we're gonna be trying to figure out this topic, because an hour is a long time to jam on a topic, and we want to bring some value as well.
I feel like it hasn't been too long.
Okay, it's a long time to hear about our yappings and anecdotal feedback. So to pull in some of our insights and actually bring some facts and data, or at least some sort of level of research, takes a little bit extra effort. So we're excited to be here tonight. Sound off. Let us know in the chat if there's anything else that's going on.
And we'll probably work on the game for a little bit at the end.
We may play a game just for the hell of it. We'll play. We'll play maybe Drawful 2 tonight.
Half of Higgly is here.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. Ryan already drank half of his drink. So.
I know, in the pre-show, but I'm saving it. Okay. Do you want to do a questions for humans before we start?
Questions for humans.
Questions for humans.
Sound off in the chat too.
All right, this is a spoiler for anyone under the age of 10 in the chat. How and when did you find out that Santa Claus was a lie?
What?
How
a lie?
How and when did you find out?
Oh my
Santa
God!
Claus was
You're kidding me.
A lie. You're like Adam,
right now.
You're like Adam was this many years old when he found out it was a lie.
Oh my God!
I was trying to think. I mean, I think I was probably later. I always feel like I was later than most kids. 6th grade. That's nice. Stealth. I feel like I was. Yeah, I think I was about 5th or 6th grade. I feel like kids nowadays figure it out sooner, though. I don't know if you're.
I think it's like it's hard to say the win. You don't really.
That's a good one.
You know what? You could go down the journey of like, I never told my kids. I just never commit to it. You never say
never
it.
Commit
You just
to it.
are like, no.
Exactly. Even today, right? Like even now. Never.
Oh man, you never even had the chance to believe. They didn't even give that. Like, it's about the spirit of it, and
right.
I remember this though, is that I was younger. It must have been definitely in elementary school, but I always never I could live this down, because the second I figured out my brother, who's about 2.5 years younger, I just straight up went to him. I was like, dude, this is not real. This is not real. This is not real.
Man.
And like told him every single one of them.
See,
like the second I found out.
That's why you can't, when older kids start figuring it out, you can't even just let on. It's got to be like unspoken between you, because you're just, if you just let it out in the open, they're going to be like, well, apparently they don't care. I'm just going to spoil it for my 6-year-old brother.
I was like probably dramatically thinking about it, and didn't think about as a younger kid. I'm just like, you got to tell other kids this. Like, why would you want to live this
Adam's
lie?
got news. Like, he's ready to spill the tea, whatever he's got.
I feel so bad. Like, honestly, I felt bad. Once I realized, you don't realize it as a kid, how much of a jerk you are. So
yeah. Hey, I feel like it happens now with the internet and everything. I feel like kids look it up, or kids. If you look it up on Google, will it play along?
It plays along.
It'll play along.
It has a whole thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good at least. I like that. Okay, next one.
All right. What is it?
What are a few simple things that make your day better?
Ooh, I like this one. I really like this one. I can talk a long time about this one.
A few simple things that make your day better.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start with a couple of things. So one of the things that I absolutely love about the day are the simple things. The simple things in general are amazing. And this goes into like the concept that I think about a lot, is that you got to live in the moment to enjoy those moments. Sometimes if you try to live for some future thing that you're never going to be happy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I absolutely love is in the mornings when I'm like, sometimes I go in the kitchen, I'm getting some like coffee ready, and I look out in the backyard. Oh, hey, thanks for the follow. Thanks. When I look out into the backyard, I'll see like a little squirrel running around, little birds in the thing, and then I'm like, oh man, I need to go outside, and I sit on the back porch. And it's usually early because I get up early enough that I can enjoy the morning a bit and kind of like acclimate to the day and see the sunrise.
Oh,
like that is
nice.
like, if I get that in the morning, oh man, I absolutely love it.
That's amazing. I love that. I do feel like coffee is like a good warm treat during the day that makes like a simple thing that makes my life better. I feel like taking the dog for a walk is like a good thing that I feel like could make my day better. Like I work from home, so I'll be like, I can go during lunch break and be like, I'm just going to walk the dog around and get out. It's the same thing, right? Get outside, see some things, get some exercise, get the blood flowing. I feel like that is definitely a simple thing.
Mike Azul in the chat, he mentioned like going on a walk to reflect. And
right.
I mean, I can like, thinking about that, there's days that I have a really bad day or I'm just like feeling like off.
Yeah.
And the only way to get me out of the funk is just I'm just go outside. You just like get out, you walk by some houses. You just feel like you're like, oh man, that kind of like rejuvenates you.
Yeah.
Which kind of like plugs into Lorazepam as she's smell things that smell nice. And like, you know what smells really nice is when you're on a walk and it's like spring and people are watering the grass and you get that like that newer grass water smell. Oh, totally. I love that kind of thing.
Love that. I would also say a small thing is like when I get to cook my own food, I feel like that is the thing that can make the day better. I like cooking. I like being in there. I'll like at night, I'll make dinner and I'll like drink a beer and listen to a podcast or do something and sort of like make an entire cool meal for the entire family. And that's always like makes me feel good.
Yeah, you're giving of yourself. You're feeding the family.
Giving my time and everything, but also getting to do it myself. And then some people will jump in and help me with certain things, and it's good.
Lilacs, see lilacs start to bloom. Like that's just that new kind of feeling of life coming on.
Totally.
That's a
good time of year. Good time of year.
What's an other time is in spring. I have this tree in my backyard, and it kind of goes with that lilac is that it blooms, and it only blooms for like this like week or two.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of years that I get screwed by a windstorm or a hailstorm right after, like oh, that's so beautiful, then like blows off and it's all terrible.
Like,
but that is a good moment as well.
That's
you're like,
good.
All right,
I like that. Okay, last one. What's the best concert you've ever been to and why?
Oh snap! These were like
bangers.
They were hella bangers tonight. I use this camera just because why did I spend hundreds of dollars on this camera for the questions for humans?
For the card show off. What's the best concert you've ever been to and why?
Oh God, that's a great question.
I have one. I could do one.
Yeah, go for it. You started out.
I am not a huge country music fan. Like I'm, hey, I don't listen to much country music. But for my 21st birthday, Willie Nelson was playing in Savannah, Georgia, and on my birthday, and they were like, nice. Kathy was like, hey, that's on your birthday? That seems kind of cool. We could go to that. And, even though it was, Willie Nelson, which he didn't really, do a lot. And so we like made a thing of fun brownies, and went to the Willie Nelson concert. And it was like in this tiny little theater. And for some reason we had these great tickets and we were right in the middle, right in the whole thing. And he like played the entire time and it was amazing. And everybody, I feel like the crowd was like super into it. And everyone was just like laughing and like singing along. And it was just like the best like time. And yeah, that was like a super fun, memorable thing to do, like on my birthday. It was
like
awesome.
Key time of to go.
Exactly. College, young love. It was great.
That's a great one. Stealth Mouse reminded me, and the Catastro concerts were like definitely in mind, and like absolutely love those. And I would say like, yeah, top of my time hanging out with you nonetheless. And being able to do that was a big one. I was going to say like, maybe this isn't because looking at the card, it's like, what is the best concert? It's really so hard because concerts, I've been to so many in my life. Like I love going to concerts. I can tell you there was like one that was super memorable to me. And so maybe not the best of bands, but just like I had just got a divorce. I hadn't been like single for like a humongous part of my life, for like 20 years or something. Like I think like the most I had been single is a week or so, and I would always like date. It was a thing. And so I was starting to learn self-care and just like do things for myself. And like I was either like go down the path of being a crazy drunk or like go and be healthy, just let yourself go, live your life. And so I remember I looked up this concert and I was like, Alien Ant Farm, and I bought a ticket by myself.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm gonna buy a ticket for myself and I'm going to a concert by myself because I've always went with someone.
Sure.
And so I went to the concert. I showed up a little earlier and literally walked up all the way like belly to the stage.
Nice.
Alien Ant Farm, like this close to my face, and they were like looking at me, doing things like right in my face.
That's awesome.
I have like videos from it, like it make like awesome music videos.
Cool.
And I just remember like these girls off to the side, and this one got super drunk, was thrown up on the floor, and I was like, I wasn't even drinking much, and I was like, that looks terrible, and like dancing for myself. I don't know. It was memorable because I remember that was the first time I was like, I can do things by myself and still be happy.
No, that's awesome. I only know one Alien Ant Farm song. It is that Michael Jackson remake, right? Like that's the only.
Do you know
can't
what's?
Even think of any.
It's hilarious. I don't know names of them, but if you were to go, you would be like, "Oh, they do that one.
Oh, really? Okay,
they do that
that's
one."
Cool.
And it was really cool. Like
Nice.
it felt like it was a good thing.
That's
so
awesome. That was up at Denver.
It was up in Springs, and I can't remember the place, but I do remember driving there. I was like, I am going to like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre farm that somebody's gonna murder me.
Black Sheep?
Because no, it was at some like weird new place that was like I don't even know if it's still there. And I was going there, and I was like, man, this feels like it's like in the boondocks. And then you came to this place, and I was like, I think a concert's about to happen in here. Then you went in, and there was people. I was like, okay, it's a thing.
That's fun. That's a good one. Good. Man, these were good. Good questions.
I love those.
Tonight.
Man, I want to do like a whole night of those. What's going to happen when we're out of that deck?
I know we're going to have to buy another deck.
So
We're going to have to buy like the corporate deck or something, or the relationship deck.
Chat, you got any extra insights here?
I was going to say, we just like put all of these, we'll just scan all of these into ChatGPT and be like, give us more.
Yeah, human questions for humans. That's the thing. You just got to
AI
copyright
for humans.
DCA, whatever takedowns on that.
Okay. Do you want to jump into these news articles?
Hell yeah. We do. All right. So we got
talk about them.
All right, first one we're going to get into is deep learning used to speak. And this one was kind of cool. I'll just do the intro and then we talk about it.
Yeah.
So what I do, and it's just actually going to be funny because like as we get into the second hour of show and we get into the topics here, loneliness and doom scrolling, all that stuff, I do a little bit of that, but I always kind of look at him like, what can I bring to the show? What's that article? Like, I feel like I'm curating this list for you all.
Your content mining at that point.
I am, but I'm also like, this is not enough. And then this one hit the mark for me. But what it talks about is a brain implant system that is able to like connect to little pieces in your brain and allow people to talk fluently. Now we have this technology,
couldn't talk, right?
Like who could not talk or previously had an injury, or there's something that's going on where they've now lost the ability to speak.
Yeah.
And so I kind of even think of like Stephen Hawking, like he had a way to like look at things and like talk, but it was very robotic and
it took forever, right? Because he had to like look at each word, or I don't know exactly how it worked, but it definitely was not like fluid conversation that you were having back and forth.
So if you're interested in this particular one, what I'll do is I'm going to put a link to the journal. This is like a full journal article from Nature.
Yeah, but you could read the abstract, right?
Yeah, the abstract is It's okay. It's short, so you can
You're
go
like,
and find
just
some
put it
other
into
things.
ChatGPT and
Yeah.
have it do a summary for you.
I'm sure it would figure that out. But if you want to get down to the science of it, go check that out.
We got to quote our sources here.
Yeah, we do. We got because we're not making this stuff up,
Right, yeah.
and so what was interesting is that one of the challenges with this is that if you wanted to fluently speak to somebody that kind of lost their ability to have a voice, is that they needed a system to be able to do that with, and so this allows it to with like a latency of 3 seconds or less. So you could almost have this fluent conversation back and forth,
right.
using this system, which I thought was really cool.
And so it's like it's interpreting brain waves or something like that, and doing it as language. Because I feel like they had something like that before, didn't they? Of like. I wonder. I feel like this is such a cool way of using like deep learning or whatever they said that this was, right? From it. It's such a good way of like, I want to hear more stories about how we're using this for like accessibility and helping people with disabilities and stuff. I feel like that goes on the wayside, a lot. And it feels like these types of technologies would be so much better to make those people's lives
Wasn't
better.
that something you had said before? Like we were looking at another product that did, like it came out during, I can't remember. It was one
it
of
was
those
like
things.
the cane.
Yeah,
It was
the cane.
It was like for blind people,
Yeah,
right? And so like
yeah.
it had a camera and it looked around and it told you what things were and where you were going, and you could point it at stuff and it would just read menus for you. I feel like like that stuff is so cool.
So this is where science comes into thing. So I'm gonna read off of my notes here. Is that it uses this transducer models and deep learning to be able to like accurately decode the brain. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to even front like I know exactly what that's about, but my understanding is that they install these electrodes, and it's like up in the upper 200s of electrodes to your brain,
Right.
and reading neural signals. And so I suspect that they're able to map some of these, like, okay, if this goes here, this can say this.
Yeah.
And so it allows it to be decoded. And so what was kind of cool about it, there's a couple things. Is people that have had, like, let's say a bunch of videos of themselves, or, you social media post and they get in a car accident and now they lose the ability to speak. You have training data to grab their voice.
Oh, right, and clone their voice.
You can really bring your own voice back.
That is cool.
Personalization.
I feel like more stuff like this, right? Like I'm glad people are out there figuring this stuff out, because like I said, man, like the difference between it taking 45 seconds to a minute and looking at a screen and doing that, as opposed to having like a real back and forth conversation, like that legitimately changes people's lives.
And you know what I think about as we go down this path is that people have been studying this for a while. I think that you and I sometimes are just like, AI made that happen.
Sure.
People have been doing this, and now they're just probably like, how do I introduce AI a little bit more into the research that I've already done for years to make this happen? And so it's probably not this flash bang of like AI came and did it. They're just like, oh, awesome. Now we can use AI to enhance our progress a little bit faster than what we've done in the past.
Yeah. And I mean, just the faster computers get, the smaller they get, all of that stuff, it just like helps with that. Plus, I mean, they're doing more brain stuff, right? Like Elon Musk is doing his whole like putting electrodes inside of brains to control computers with it, right? And so they've been going through testing with that. I listened to a whole The Daily on it, and like that's.
Is it Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Or is it somebody that's really smarter than him and then that he has hired
sure.
into it?
Well, yeah, totally. I don't know if Elon Musk is in there like experimenting on bunch of brains,
You don't speak about that gentleman on this show.
Yeah. I'm not an Elon Musk like supporter.
All right, fair enough. I'm curious from the chat here if you know anybody that's been in a condition like this, or is this something that you've heard about or you know about, because these are the kind of things that we're interested in understanding, like what could really improve people's quality of life bring equality.
We even
together.
have nurses, like in the chat. So
yeah, like is this something that's real? Like they mentioned one of the things, like how can this thing work? You still requires a functioning speech motor context or cortex.
like only so like if that part is damaged, you can't.
Right.
You basically can't do it.
I suspect that's a piece of the brain that they have mapped and figured out. Like, if this thing isn't working, you can't do the thing.
Brain
so
is crazy.
it would be. I mean, it's crazy that they've mapped it to the degree that they have to make that thing work.
Yeah, I wonder how accurate it is.
The crazy thing that they were saying is that people with like locked in syndrome, and I was even curious, like maybe people in these deep comas where you're like, this person's gone, like they hook it up and they start talking, you'd be like, oh
That
my
would be
god,
crazy.
I
Oh
would be
my
like,
god,
oh.
you're like, I'm ready to unplug. You know,
You're like, oh my god, thank you
Sheila.
so much. Oh,
Yeah,
please, like, move my legs for me.
Oh god, could you scratch my nose? It's been killing me for the last decade.
Oh, that would be terrible. So, any case, it sounds like it's a pretty interesting thing. It's compared to some of the past tech. It's just sounds like it's moved forward quite a bit.
Yeah.
Some of the social reactions were hilarious, and also maybe not as supporting, but people are like, this is the way that they get like thought reading technology and privacy. So you're in a torture room and they put the electrodes in your head and you're trying to like think your way out of it and you're telling everything. I don't know. It seems like
It'd
be
be pretty invasive surgery to get that all done. I feel like at this point.
At this point, they're torturing the crap out of you. Might as well, right?
They may as well like do some brain surgery.
Yeah. So, anyways, what's your thoughts? What do you think?
That's a good one. I like that one.
was
I like accessibility ones. When
Heck
technology is actually being used to help people, not just to create entertainment or,
you know, it's like the other thing about it too is I look at accessibility, and I do this a lot with my work. Is accessibility is great. Not just from the compliance standpoint.
Sure.
A lot of people are like, oh, I just want to be compliant for it. But I love the concept that like it still can be for everyone. Like, what if you were like totally not disabled and you wanted to put these electrodes in your brain? Maybe, okay, that might be bad because you're just being lazy and you're like,
Sure.
I don't want to use my meat lips here to talk, so I'm gonna chitty chat.
I am not deaf, but I use captions all the time.
Heck
right?
yes.
You know, like it's one of those things that just makes everything better. And then not only does it make it better for everyone, but for a certain part of the population, it makes it like 99% better, right? Like it is so life changing for people who, you know, have things where like that small investment of technology to make it so like Xbox was making controllers that you could control with your feet and all of that, right? And so they had giant buttons and everything for people with motor control issues. Like it's like such a tiny little bit, but it makes such a huge difference.
I love it for sure,
It's like what I want technology to get used for.
Well, and you know, I was thinking of technology and the advancements as well. Is that it goes back to the rabbit hole that we've always talked about in the future. It's that like it starts to bring us closer together, and if we're all able, like all capable, and all equal, and everything starts to come together, it becomes a singularity again, and we all do the same thing. I don't know. I'm not going down this rabbit hole tonight. We're going to pivot, though. We're going to go into say, what the heck about AI, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
AI is been a black box for a lot of us.
Yeah.
A lot of, actually, even the people that make it.
Like stuff goes in, training data goes in, prompt goes in, an answer comes out. And in a lot of ways, we sort of don't, know exactly what is happening behind the scenes.
And so one of the challenges as we've developed the AI, and a lot of scientists, by the way, at this point, and this is some recent articles that I've been reading, they're like, you guys are so dumb. These tech companies that are just chucking out these AI models out there and having no concept of how they work and just monetizing the crap out of it. It's like, damn you, capitalism. What have you done? Because we don't know what's under the onion layers as you start to look into AI and the different concepts here. And so Anthropic, who makes or I'm actually not sure which direction,
Claude.
like Claude
Claude.
do they make Claude, or does
Anthropic is the company and Claude is like the model, basically.
So
Anthropic is huge they were like the longest ones to be holding out on like AI safety and everything. They still are big on that. Like that is one of their core like tenets of the company is to have protections on things. Like they didn't allow their models to connect to the internet like after everyone had already done that. Like everyone, they were still holding out, and they just sort of went over. But They're a company that is like doing interesting things in that space. At least they're not just shoving forward with capitalism.
They're known as one of the best in coding support.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Mike Azul has done a lot with Anthropic, and so Mike Azul, if you have any insights on
Sonnet, like that Sonic,
what that is,
the Claude's like the Sonnet version is like apparently
people have been loving
these
it.
knees on coding.
I need to get in. I have just been a little bit ChatGPT'd is what my thing is, and so. Why they're in the news now is that they've been creating what they're putting quote unquote is this brain scanner for AI to understand how LLMs work. So the large language models, and they want to understand like some other things, why they hallucinate,
just sort of like the thinking process, right?
Yeah.
I feel like people thought it was really neat when DeepSeek had like, here's how I'm thinking about a deeper, research problem, and this is kind of what they're doing for this, what Anthropic is doing, right?
Absolutely. So first thing is they developed a tool, scans the model, and it figures out like the step-by-step process. So if you imagine being able to kind of put a tracer in as to like, okay, here's this algorithm and this deep learning, it's going to jump around from these different parts. They equate it to like circuit tracing to see like, okay, the things are going here to here to here, kind of like neurons firing in your brain and things like that. And then they're like looking at, okay, what parts of this model are active when tasks are being run. So as you start to develop a little bit of understanding,
I feel like a brain scan is a great metaphor for that because it sounds like that.
It absolutely does. So it's peeking in, it's taking a look, it's seeing what's in there.
And what did they find, Adam? Everything is just like straightforward.
They closed the door on it. It's all figured out. They said, AI, we got you.
We got you, boy.
They said so. I'm gonna just jump to the punchline.
Yeah.
That like number one, they don't have it locked down.
Yeah.
But they did find some interesting things. They said, it's going to take a lot more effort. We still think it's a black box, but we started to see some interesting things we can look at. One of the ones that I laugh about is everyone talks about it. It's bad at math.
Sure.
And
notoriously bad at math, large language models.
Before the show, Ryan and I were looking over the show notes and like how we're going to go through this. Is Ryan's like, but that's how I would think about how to do math.
It is. Okay, explain how the large language model thinks about adding two numbers.
So there's some interesting ways that it looks at it. So first of all, like if you were going to do the numbers like 45 and then 69, let's just say those are the two numbers you're going to add. Nice. You put those two numbers together, and the thing is that it wouldn't even like take the two to be like, hey, 40-ish plus 60-ish equals what about
100?
I don't know. We got that. And then they go and they start figuring out those end digits a little bit more. I'm like, okay, let's look at the last digit. Maybe we're going to figure out like if they add together, what's the likelihood that it's going to be this number at the end? And then it starts
that's how they teach people, kids. That's how they teach kids math now.
Is it?
That is how they teach kids math. They go break it down into tens.
Sure.
And add those together because it's easy. 60 plus 40 is 100, right? And then 9 plus 4 or whatever it was, 69, 45, 9 plus 5 is 14. So you're like, what's 100 plus 14? 114.
Well, they were saying that, but they were saying that it would look at that and try to do some of the loose math, but then they would find some like learning they did on some math site, like the Khan Academy.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh yeah, there was these kind of numbers here.
Yeah.
And boom, here's the answer.
Definitely.
And,
that's where it's bad, right? It's just kind of like looking around the internet being like, who added those numbers together?
Yeah.
At some point.
It was so I don't know. It seems like it's pretty interesting in that. So, and then this is a big one, and I don't know if you want to talk about it.
I like this one
because Ryan and I had this concept that it would think of the next word over and over and over.
That's how I thought. Like that's how it's explained to you. Is that it's just whatever is the most likely to be the next word is what it's coming up with, and it's coming up with all this brilliant research linearly.
So is that the way it does it? Or?
No, apparently not. Apparently, like, I mean, I would imagine it's in a lot of ways it does, but this talked about a very specific like poem that it was writing, and so it was like, say you have it write a poem. It goes through and it goes, what are all the rhyming words that I need to rhyme, and make those about whatever theme you came up with, and then retroactively go back in and fill in the rest of the thing. Again, probably like some poets do, right? You're like, I know what sort of rhyming scheme I want. I know what like things need to rhyme. That's a big part of it. It won't make any sense if it doesn't fit this rhyming scheme. And then you sort of backfill it in. I thought it was like, it's a lot about like how people do things, which is a little scary.
Well, I mean, I like the fact that it's not just like making up the words as it goes, but it kind of re-looks at itself and it looks at it from all angles. And it's like, I know I need to get to this point to that point. Yeah. And I just thought that was interesting because I always had it in my mind. It just does it synchronously. And it's like boom, boom, boom. And it just writes.
And that's how it displays itself, right? Like it writes it out one word at a time. It's not like if I tell it to write a poem, it doesn't go in and show me all the rhyming words first and then go and start filling them in. It does it one at a time. It just must be doing that in the background, I guess.
So this next one has got me to like say like what the fish, as far as like its strange inner language as they said it. They said that they found that it had this like, they call it a language of thought. So it like has these different spoken languages that it goes through to like look at abstract concepts. And so imagine you're trying to research this thing and then it's talking all these weird gibberish. And we even watched a video earlier, like two AIs talking, like, you want to talk an AI talk? Let's talk an AI talk.
And it's like, yeah.
And so it has the, like, when it's starting to go back and forth, it creates its own language, or I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but that it is able to go through different kinds of language. It gets a large language model to be able to come up with some. I remember one hearing about it going, doing that same thing that DeepSeek was doing, right? Where it talks about what it can, how it does the research, right? And it goes, oh, okay, man, make sure we talk about this. And he wanted, this part to be emphasized. And so it sort of goes through it. And people were saying that at some points it'll just like switch to different languages. It'll be like, this is maybe easier to explain to myself in French than it is in English. And so it'll just switch over to French. Maybe there's more training data in French on that topic or whatever. And so imagine just like a super smart thing being like, well, it's easier to explain this in Chinese. So I'll just switch over to Chinese real quick, talk to myself about it. And then when I need to spit it back out, whatever Ryan uses, sure, English, I'll just use that. Like, and then translate it back into whatever language you're so cool. I think the cool thing about this is that there's some research going into it. We've heard about like black box. I was getting to the point like, oh my God, is anybody going to give a crap of what this is? Yeah. It goes back to my time machine analogy, Ryan, that I always talked about. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. In the time machine, the older time machine movie, it's like humanity just like loved technology because it did all the things for them. It was able to answer all the questions. They never questioned how it worked. Yeah. And I feel like we're on that path. We're going to get to the point where like we have this crazy AI computer, and if it ever crashes, no one's going to know how to fix the damn thing because we just went so far into the future. Because
it's smarter. It's smarter than us, right? Like, and so that's just how it is. Like right now, if the internet went down, and it went down for months and months and months and was just gone, like, we'd be screwed. I'm not going to know how to get the internet going to my house and all of that kind of stuff, or computers stop working for some reason. I mean, it's all beyond me at this point. So it's sort of like, hey, this is just another layer of beyond us, right? Like a layman right now doesn't know how any of that
works. That's what I was going to say. Like, scientists not being able to know this is what I get scared about.
Well, hey, it's just another layer of people not knowing how it works. And that's progress, I guess, but like that's scary progress for sure.
Hell yeah. And like wrap up on this guy is that we're figuring it out. Super slow right now. Apparently it's taken a lot to trace these little deals to figure out each of these circuits. It's not like you could just like chuck it at it and say, hey, figure out what's going on. Like, you have to be meaningful of saying, okay, we're going to put this kind of prompt in. Let's figure out what the circuits it goes through. So it's not like a deep learning.
Yeah, like I'm sure it's a very like specific and technical thing that they are doing, like as like a test. It's not like we could just see what every, large language model is doing.
What's your thoughts out there? Is this a box? Is this something that's scaring you
care?
yourself?
Like,
I mean, do you
like...
care? I mean, I give a crap about it, but I don't know about y'all.
I guess like at some point I just trust that the computer is telling me the right thing. I guess I don't trust that the internet is telling me the right thing, because that's people.
Probably should have, because there's a lot of people that are lying like they are. All right, so let's jump onto your next topic, Ryan. What did you have?
So I thought this was interesting. The CEO of a huge company, right? Like Shopify is this massive online first about like how people go and they purchase things online, right? A big technology company. And this technology company, their CEO, he's very into AI. He's like, he's on AA, Twitter, and just talking about that a bunch. And he put out like a internal memo that was leaked from one of his employees. And basically it was just sort of, it's like very AI first, in everything. It's basically saying like, one, employees, you have to know this kind of stuff. Like it's mandatory to know about AI and use it in your job. And he was saying, especially when you get to sort of like a prototyping phase where you're brainstorming and like building things quickly to see if they work. He was like, absolutely, AI should 100% be in that. And one of the other points that he says is like, we're going to judge your performance as an employee, and that one of the judgments is going to be how well you use AI. Like that's just it. It's going to be in your performance reviews. And so like that was a big part of it. He was also saying like, he was like, everyone across the entire company needs to be using AI. Like, it doesn't matter what your job is. It can help you with anything. So you can't just be like, that's for those tech nerds, but I'm in accounting. Like, it doesn't matter. Everyone needs to use it, and everyone needs to be sharing what they're learning. Like, that was a big thing that he said. Like, we need to do this. The one thing that really caught people's attention, though, was he basically said, hey, do not ask for head count. Do not ask for additional resources if you can't prove that you can't get that from AI. And not only today's AI, right? Like you can't be like, oh, I can't ask ChatGPT for this. I need another person. He was basically saying like, we're coming up to the point where we have these AI agents. And if you had an autonomous AI agent helping you with this problem that you're trying to fill with headcount or resources, you got to be able to basically prove to the company that you can't do that with AI. And people were like, oh my God, this is where, you like the starting of one loss of jobs through AI, right? Because you're now not hiring people that you normally would have hired, because you got to justify it and you got to be like, they're so, specialized, I guess, right? That AI couldn't do it. And the other thing is just like how much of this is just going to be every company from now on, right? That just says AI, you got to know it. It is part of your job. It is invasive to every single aspect of our business. And it is now just a core function of your job for you to know and utilize AI and share your thoughts with the entire company. So
Man, thank you for that. Was a really good way to put that. I was thinking of a lot of things as you described it, because it's reminds me of computers and the internet. A little bit before the show we talked about this.
Absolutely.
Is that it's not a choice. It's like right now, think about trying to hire someone into a job and they'd be like, I'm not a computer person.
Right.
Now, everything, even if you're like doing a trade, you got to put in like details into some sort of like CRM or system to take a payment.
Yeah.
Like every job has some level of like access to a computer. And I think like what he's saying is like, all right, this is going to be the new Renaissance. This is the new age of enlightenment. You got to get into the AI game, because if you don't do it now, like you're just not going to like be able to. But it also gets me thinking like, this is such a great lead into our topic tonight, because, our dependence on technology, our dependence on being able to learn all these things, like is it really healthy? Is it like the way that we should be going as society? Like, it's great. We can be so overly productive, but for what reason? Like, like, so we could like do what? Like, make a bunch of people rich?
Yeah.
Like, we want to like all kind of like work and do some things together just because we're all here trying to survive. I don't know. I am all for tech. I appreciate tech. It's something that I have absolutely like. Sometimes I feel grateful that I have that itch to know it a little bit more, because I'm like, how can you not want to this? And if you didn't, and I'll even like say like my parents, like they don't use AI right now. Like they not at all. And now they're older, they're retired, so they probably got to miss this AI boat. But like imagine what life would be right now if like they barely have to just like answer an email and pay a bill online, but there's no AI in their life.
Right.
There's no like having to like rely deeply on the internet. They could still figure out ways to get places and do things. It's crazy to think about.
And, you know, like you said, our parents, right, are like, for the most part, retired. Like, they don't need to be doing that kind of stuff. But, like, I feel like you got a while to figure it out when computers came along, right?
Some time.
Like, you had some time to sort of be like, hey, I'm easing into this. We're using computers for certain things, and maybe I have to go to the library and figure things out, or it's at school. And like you eased into it. And then the internet was even shorter, right? Of being like, okay, it's not just computers to do stuff, but like you're logging in to do everything, to sign up for things, for like normal stuff that you might have gone to a building and talked to a person and filled out a form is now just all online. And you have to like, you know, navigate that space. And AI is just going to be an even shorter version of that, of like, the more people that can't get with it quickly, right? Or like are at that tail end of adoption are just going to get like hacked off and be like, all right, I guess you're retired now,
out.
you know, like you just, I guess you're going to be a guy that cuts down trees or whatever, like something is that doesn't use AI like that. Like if you're a white collar job and you can't figure it out quick enough, you're just, but
even still,
behind.
Even with your other things, like people are using it for everything. Like imagine putting, like you said, cutting down trees. There's AR things. Like what if you're like putting an iPad up and it analyzes the tree and says, you know what, the best way for it to fall is if you cut it right exactly here and you do this. Like it's going to help every industry because you're going to increase safety. You're going to increase this kind of thing.
Totally. Yeah, like you got to get along to go along. Now then the next thing is like what, you know, is right now us learning about AI and we're already leaving a bunch of people behind, and then AI agents are going to come, and if you didn't figure out AI, can you even figure out AI agents? It's like if you don't keep up with the trend, like you just get quicklier and quicklier left behind.
It does. And so yeah, best way to fall, kill human. You know, this
it's like a Futurama. We were sending some Futurama things about.
Oh yeah, I watched that. I was laughing my ass off. But you know, there's some thoughts on this too. So like if and we're gonna get to this Quake 2 demo in a second here, but as you kind of think about the adoption of AI, like take this for me. So if I were to say, would you consider, I don't know if you would consider like developing language a technology, but like we always say technology is like circuits and things like that. Like technology isn't all this. Like technology was developing the hoe to like make the farm.
It depends on right now it's all circuits and computers and stuff like that.
But back in the time, if like somebody was like, what, I have to like write things on a freaking board? That's terrible. That's stupid. Like I'm not.
I just remember how much
I do my thing, you know? And so are we at that point too? And I'm thinking like technologically, you get born into technology.
Yeah.
Our kids right now are able to adapt to it very quickly. Here's the challenge is that there's a more growing divide between the haves and the have-nots with the technology. But even still in like other countries, like technology is even still available in some of them. I'm not going to go and pretend like I know enough about globalization of like technology adoption, but I feel like even in places that maybe doesn't have all the infrastructure and things, they still have access to certain phones and wireless and satellites and other things. So as you get it as a natural part of your life, the idea of being told, hey, it's your responsibility to go learn AI, it's like just inherent to how you're going to go. So I think the next version of this, it's like, I'm always like, where's the cap? Where is the cap? I think I am like stressed to the max as to what I'm doing in my job and trying to push as much out as I can. And the only thing is like, how sweet would it be to like shove an AI chip in my brain to help me process things while like I'm asleep so that I wake up. And so then I start integrating myself with technology. And then you like take that analogy, you go into the future, and I'm a robot in the future, and the singularity happens, Ryan.
Exactly, that's Ray Kurzweil.
I'm not even kidding.
Kurzweil right there. That's his whole thing.
Who's ready to watch Ryan play some AI games? Are you ready for this?
I can't wait for this. This is like, get this queued up. I'm gonna use the restroom. Get this queued up.
Oh my god! Right, all right, I'm queuing this up. Ryan is on soda number 3. Bro is like putting me out of house and home by drinking my sparkling water, which I support. He drives down. He comes down to this. You need to know if we watched the Minecraft movie. My son has watched the Minecraft movie. I was boycotting it with my other son because we heard that it was more like the Minecraft movie, or Minecraft was the backdrop to a Jack Black kind of movie with that other guy. I can't remember his name. I heard it's still a good time. It's like the Wizard of Oz for Minecraft movies. We might be getting into it. We might go watch it just for the hell of it. You know, I was telling Ryan before the damn chat, or before the show, the one thing, and this sounds so really bad and capitalized as to why I kind of wanted to do it. My son calls me, and he's like, Dad, could you go get me a Minecraft movie meal from McDonald's? And I was a little resistant. So then I go to McDonald's, and all their little nice boards in the drive-thru, it says loading menu in a Minecraft way. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. And that's kind of nice. I was like, I kind of want to watch the movie right now. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. It can't be taken by it. And then, of course, they didn't have the Minecraft meal movie because they were sold out of the little trinkets and toys and the cool little packets of dippable hot sauce that was going to come with it. And so I had to leave, and I was like, no, I don't want anything because I don't want to buy your food because I wanted your stupid plastic toy.
The only reason I'm here is for the toy.
My son wanted the toy, now I wanted to get him the toy.
Man.
And so, anyways, he went and watched the movie
Dang,
with his friends.
teenagers dressed up to go see it. That's fun.
Was it? I feel like that's okay. Scale
dressed up like Jack Black or dressed up like my legit actual video game Minecraft characters.
Here's my question. Oh shit! I didn't use the thing. Are you a Minecraft fan? Do you play Minecraft? Is the question. Because if you do, I'm curious if you felt like it was if it was a good representation of the game, or did you feel like they layered on a story to the Minecraft?
See, Mike Azul was saying it was fun. I read reviews that were like, it's probably better than it has any right to be for what it is, right? Like sort of like the at least like the Mario Brothers movie, the Super Mario Brothers movie.
It beat the Mario Brothers movie, by the way, in terms of sales.
Yeah, well, and the Mario Brothers movie, totally fine and like hardly took any swings, right? Like it almost had no like weirdness about it. It was just like a very straightforward. And that's Nintendo,
Yeah, it's a Nintendo
and
for sure.
But this one, like created, or directed by the director that did Napoleon Dynamite, and has weird things like that in it, So I'm probably not gonna go. I'm not gonna go to the theaters to see it, but like when it comes out on HBO or whatever, I'll watch it.
It was my dad's birthday recently. Got him a card to go to the movies, and he's like, "You want to go to it?" And I was like, "Nah." And then I looked at all the other movies. I was like, "All those other movies look worse." Okay, I'll go to Minecraft movie. With
so you did. Are you?
I'm going.
Oh, you're going
in a week or so
all
here.
Right,
so,
nice.
I mean, I hear the references were good, like the memes and all that, but like. I grew up from the beta version, the alpha version of Minecraft, built servers, did all that stuff. So I'm the weird, stupid guy that's always going to be like,
this isn't Jack Black as Steve.
What I wanted to see is if you knew that, you would have watched all of the music videos that came out and the storylines that like actually embodied some of the things that were in the story. And so I think some of the deeper Minecraft people are like, wouldn't it be cool if you use that character you had in there and then they go through that like movie, that arc that like ties to the game story?
They can't look like the characters from the game.
No, they have, like, think about it. You customize all your characters, right? I agree.
It's like a flat. It's like it's very blocky. Isn't that hard?
As a person, I cannot believe you've not seen these, Ryan. Like, people have like taken the flatness and then like made it a cool 3D rendered, upscaled version of it, and you're like, oh, that's actually pretty cool.
All right.
And so, like, there's a whole fan base for how it could have done if it was a fully animated feature, but they're like, let's sell it with Jack Black and who's the other guy in it? I can't even remember.
Jason Momoa.
Momoa, yeah, which always does funny stuff.
No, he's a good comedic actor. It's one of those things.
Is he comedic though? Is that this thing? All right, Ryan, you're playing this game. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get a pop-up of us on this thing. Okay, you get a little peek behind the scenes of our thing. We're going into Copilot, Ryan.
Trello board.
Okay, here. Oh shit, Ryan, you're already in the mode. It's already going. So, on the left-hand side of the screen, you have to use the WASD to get around. Ryan, right now, as he is running around in this game, you have to run around like the right hand. It's gonna die. F is fire.
Okay.
C is crouch if you need to do that. So this is being rendered per frame at a time. Like the game is coming up with this as he plays this. This is crazy.
Is it gone? No.
Like look how creepy that is.
Yeah, it feels a lot like when image generation.
So what's happening right now, just so you understand, is no one programmed this game. What it's doing is Ryan is running around in a world and it's procedurally generating every frame as he goes. So look at the room and then look around, like do a 360, and when you look back, the room will change. Like things will sometimes disappear.
Yeah, because it doesn't have like object permanence.
No, it doesn't. For some reason it did, because that guy's dead on the floor.
Yeah.
But there was times.
I just looked up and looked down, and now that's completely. There's not a ramp there anymore.
Yeah.
It's like very trippy.
There's a bunch of dead things on the ground that you didn't know. That is creepy to me. That's like crazy that ran at you, but you look away, then you're back, and he's not there anymore.
It's not there.
And like, look at its HUD. The HUD is like, oh, you got first aid, and like there's something on the ground you could pick up, and
then it was gone though, and now there's a door here.
But the character itself seems like fairly good. Like you're running around with it and has some.
And I have like a certain amount of health. Oh, all right, you try.
Oh no! Yeah, you go again because I did this stuff.
I'm.
So what happens is it like basically full model collapse at a certain amount of time is what happens. My understanding. I'm sure there's a reason for it.
Can I get to like a boss? Is it sort of just like these corridors?
So, it's not a game. Number one, it's probably like an initial level of Quake 2 trained off of people running through it.
It's like there's already dead bodies on the ground.
There's dead bodies.
But like it does.
That is so creepy. Like when I played, I was never able to kill anything. It would not spawn things. It's crazy. Go through that door. I think you can go through that. Like it's a door.
Oh yeah.
And then you go. I don't even like. It's hilarious. He opens the door and then, where the hell are you now? Look down with your right fingers. You've just gotten to a box. You're done. Game over.
Oh, there we go.
There was something.
Dang it.
you found. Oh God.
It's like as soon as you go past it, then you try to go back and then it's gone.
It's gone. Because are you looking straight up? Or are you looking down? Or like, can you hit buttons like what would it be? F?
Shoot.
That's hilarious. You're like stuck in a.
Uh,
Oh, you almost found a way out. This is even more creepy. You're stuck in an AI world.
it's like I needed to have pixels that it could start thinking about. Okay, there we go.
There you go. You can maybe get your way out. Now you're in like some weird corridor.
Yeah, but it won't let me go forward. Oh, and then I went into a.
I loved it. You opened a door and got stuck into something. Okay, there you go. You're out of a corridor. I wonder if like that would be crazy. Like you're fine. Ah! That's hilarious.
Okay. Great. Let's go this way.
Right by the time you get, oh my God, that's crazy. You're like on the outside.
Okay.
It's like gonna die
Shells.
anytime soon here. No, you got shells, but no new weapon. Oh, you do got a new weapon. I don't even know how to change weapons. There's no way. Oh,
That was it.
you found a shotgun. That's crazy. It learned it. All right.
So so it's just trained on tons of data from Quake, right? Is that kind of
that's the understanding. So you're in Quake data. Like even people are like, "What the hell is with these controls? These are the worst controls." Like that's crazy. This guy comes out every time now.
Yeah.
If you go
Like
down that
it's
little,
sort of like, okay, so it knew that there's a bad guy at the end of that.
or there should
It knows
be.
the
Oh,
doors
God.
open. Yeah, it's just
Like where
gone.
did he go?
Yeah. It's almost like as soon as they're out of your vision, it just like goes, okay, forget it. just show the level again.
Like there's like a little ghost of a guy that's going around. It's just the fact that it's able to like do this. Like so, is this the Will Smith eating spaghetti moment of
exactly,
games,
totally.
or because people were saying like, well, what's the point of this? Like it's clearly not great. Yeah, rotate baddies out of frame.
Exactly.
Like what's the other thing?
That's all you need.
Ah, get out of here. You gone, buddy. So I would wonder how they would control it. You'd have to like learn how this thing actually works. Like the shadow, do you see that shadow of yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's kind of crazy. It knows that there should be a shadow there.
Yeah, I wonder if some of it would be like... I feel like it's, again, like that mix of...
I like how you got outside. That was crazy.
It would be like, hey, there's a real world like
look
thing
at
that we
this.
build. Okay.
That's so weird.
Now it's good. Now your hole is gonna be gone.
Oh my God.
Now you're back inside.
Oh no.
But like, you need enough of it to be like, here is the actual world that I am in. Don't change that. But use AI to like fill in all the grass and fill in all like the fun world that is here, all the accoutrement of the video game. I feel like that would be like a good combination of both of those. Man, that's the first one I've ever gotten to play like in real life though.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I'm so glad that you did not see that.
Yeah.
You got to do it live on stream.
So what is people's reaction to that? They're sort of like, it's kind of neat, but whatever.
Well,
Or-
and you gotta take into like the fanboys, similar to what I just talked about with Minecraft, is that like people are like, cool, that's a neat way to use it. It's like, and of course there's the novelty of being like, I played this game in my past. It's fun. It's and then like, I don't know, somebody's saying like it's a good like teaching tool, how to like prompt things and do some stuff. There's some more that you can get into if you get down the rabbit hole.
Who is
of how it
doing
works.
this? Did it say who?
It's
is?
Copilot. That's Microsoft.
Microsoft.
So it's a
Interesting.
Microsoft thing. So everyone, of course, is like, controls are janky. You can't. It doesn't pace well. Limited depth. It's like, dude, it's not meant to be an actual
It's like a tech.
game.
It's a tech demo.
So people are like, yep, it's cool to see. It's cool. And then I think a lot of people have said the same thing. Cool to play this. We've heard about it. We talked about it. It's like it's here. And then I think there's like a level of like an intrigue to it. The fact that like even you got outside, I played it a lot, probably for a good 30 minutes. I could never get outside, and you got outside today. That was cool.
And I was trapped in a dark room until it decided to let me out. Yeah, it's weird. I could see very like weird art project games coming out of it right now. But in 2 years, it'll be how every video game gets made. So
I don't know.
It's
I'm
coming
really
for us
hoping
all.
not.
It's coming for us all.
But the thing is that, and what is chat saying says, think of all the user playing and free data Microsoft is going to use. Yeah, like Game Pass, everyone's playing
Right.
games. They're like, we're making the next Minecraft or
Could be.
Microsoft or whatever that might be. Minecraft, think about that. How many billions of hours of gameplay has
straight
gone
up
into
footage.
that?
Like, I think that's why when they oftentimes do some of these demos, they use Minecraft-like places because it's like lower resolution and there's just tons of data to train it on.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, that's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see like the progression of that. Same as everything else.
I'd say so. All right, chat. It's time we kind of get ourselves into the mode to talk about something for about an hour.
Adam's mic is hot.
Yeah, I'm yelling into it. See, this is the kind of thing we need to know. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. So I just need to stop yelling. So one of the things that's been different about this is that we're routing cabling over into my my other room over here to like all the equipment is on that other space. And so sometimes in our headsets, like we could barely hear ourselves. But what's
always
nice
tough.
is to know those kind of things. And so if I like take myself back a little bit, maybe I'm not maxing
not
out.
as bad.
But this is also what happened with Linux. So I was working with the Linux system, and just before we get into our main topic of the night, I had to figure out how I set up the thing like 2 years ago. I was like, holy crap, I forgot how I set up what I was doing back in I guess it was like literally 3 or 4 years ago. So I was like, all right, I'm pretty sure I got to plug this cable into this and then plug these things into this, and I should be in a good space. So it's good to know that we've been like going for what, an hour and 12 minutes.
No crashes from what I can tell.
So far, knock on some wood. All right, so Mike is hot. Ryan's good because he's soft-spoken. I'm just yelling
true.
my yappy ass out right here. We want to talk about modern loneliness.
What do you even mean at that point? Like, is it just? Do we have like a beginning to this where we want to sort of say what this like topic is? I feel like this topic comes up a lot, right? Of people talking about. I hear about New York Times articles about the loneliness epidemic that this country is in and the entire world is. I feel like it's something that like we talk a lot about with teenagers. Like I hear about, teenagers thinking about this, and it's just a thing that is in the zeitgeist right now and has a lot to do with technology, right? And sort of even, I would say, the creative use of technology in the sense of like, social media and like AI chatbots. But
I think you're hitting onto it. And so Ryan and I had this debate. We have some notes and things we're going to go from on this. We are going to get into some tangents for sure as we go through this. And so I have some personal anecdotes that are not in notes that I'd like to provide throughout this discussion. But as we frame it up, like modern loneliness, I think a good way to embody it is our ability to stay connected to people, but not have meaningful, more connectedness, like the actual feeling of like those intimate relationships. And I don't mean in a sexual way and things like that, but the ways that you can like feel a vibe is going on. And I think you and I, and even our friend group in times, like got to enjoy a lot of this, and a lot of maybe even modern kind of people, like, or even our kids have not. Like I remember times where you and myself, we didn't even have phones. I don't even remember if we had cell phones at the time. We'd be hanging out at one of your parents' like house before we moved in. We'd be like having fun games and just doing things in that like space and moment. And I felt very much like we were all understanding each other and it had a shared experience.
Yeah. Shared experience is a big part of that, I think.
And now what we're saying is we're connected, and let's just use the social media model where we could all be on a social media platform and sharing some insights, some photos, some text about each other. And what we get is some emojis, some like superficial comments in a lot of cases. Right. And you're talking with people, but you're not really connected. You're not like really getting to to the depth.
Well, and I would say
talk
mostly
about.
asynchronously, right? Like you're not, when you're posting things and doing stuff, you're like scrolling through a feed of stuff and clicking on pictures or clicking on things and sort of writing it in the moment that you're in, but there's not like the human sort of feedback of like the back and forth, right? That you typically get.
And like, I would say that it could happen in a couple platforms that you have out there for sure. Like
Sure.
but there's something lost in it. So like the great example that I did, and I even got hooked into this for a while. I had to quit Facebook because of it. Is that there was a moment that I would like post some pictures and I would like here's some clever little text that I wanted to put out there before AI, and then I would be like, come on, roll in
Sure.
little like emojis of
Totally.
people liking my thing, and then at the end I still felt hollow. I felt like this is just like I need to do it again. It was like a quick burst of adrenaline.
Yeah.
But then at the end of it, it was like
Dopamine hit.
nobody cared. None of those people really give a crap. I was on their scroll, and they just wanted to say, "Yep, there's your thing," and
Right.
like it didn't evoke like a next level conversation, something that was deeper.
I mean, and that's just the technology allowing you to do things faster at like a low attention span, like move through things quickly, right? Because if you were having long form conversations with people, that's slower, right? That's it needs to be in real life. It has to be over, and that's how we grew, evolved as humans, was talking with each other in sort of that like slow talking over one person at a time, like, and so that's how we as humans thought about like connecting with people, not connecting with 1,000 different people at very small like hits of connection, right?
It isn't the connection like reciprocal in a sense, like you put something out like we're doing now. You put an inside out, I kind of like absorb,
Right.
reflect, and then like give back, and then
Yeah.
we get a little deeper. And sometimes I think you just never get to that depth.
Yeah.
Because you put something out there and then you kind of talk it through. So I think social media, it's this it's a way that like gives this illusion of us being able to connect with each other, because you're able to share something kind of intimate about your life or something that's going on. People jump in, but they maybe not engage. Now, if you and I were on the same social feed, I think you could almost debate the opposite way on that too. Like you might be like, oh man, that's cool. You went on that vacation and like, how did it go? And then back and forth in the chat, we actually make a real connection. But it's also probably because we have a relationship outside of
Right.
that little chat that's happening out there.
Totally.
And so, as we start to have this conversation, if you're out there, you're thinking about this, and things that I would think is like, what's something that makes you feel emotionally disconnected even when you're online? Like, are there things that you do that you're like, I'm online, I'm sharing, I'm doing these things, but you're still feeling like, man, I am not hooked in, I am not connected? Think about that. As we looked at some of like the facts around this or some of the details that are out there, is that like, and we're going to talk globalized, but like American, US, that's where we're from. 1 in 2 Americans report feeling alone or left out. There's apparently a loneliness index that is out there. And so it's interesting to think that, and as we start to look at the groups that feel left out, it's not surprising that Gen Z is one of those generations that's feeling super connected. They're like the ones that came in with technology. They started technology, but they also feel lonely.
Yeah, I mean, part of that I just feel like is one, the more technology that you use, and the sort of wider your net is of people who you are connected with on LinkedIn and Facebook and all of those type of people, it's like the shallower the connections are, right? And so, if that's what you're born into, you're just going to have more shallow connections as opposed to deeper connections in that. And, you know, like I've been reading, you know, there's that century long study about what makes people happy. And they did all these different people and across all these different interviews and over like literally 100 years. And it was one of the longest studies ever. And they were like, the thing that makes people happy is the connections that they have. And if they are happy with those connections, because people have different levels of that they want in their real life. You could ask somebody who has 20 different really close friends, but they still feel lonely because like they would love to have 40 close friends, right? And they don't think about it in that way. And then you could have some introvert who has 3 close friends and they're like, that's good. Like, I'm good with that. I don't feel lonely, that I feel connected with people, and it's 3 people and they're great, you know? And so it's sort of like changing based on who you are. But then also just like, I feel like the technology and social media just flattens it all out. So you don't have those big in-depth conversations. But on the flip side, I do think that it is interesting that I can like talk with people who, you know, there's people in the chat here. There's people on our Discord. There's people on Reddit where I would be like, I never get to talk to them or have any sort of their opinions. Like, so, you know, I mean, it's not all bad in that sense. Like there's people who I would never talk to, but they are probably not the deepest, you know, conversations that I'm ever having.
And so I love that take on it, because you're basically saying you're able to diversify like your interest in a way and find people that maybe have some similarities to you.
Right.
And so it's like, how do you take it to another depth to then build a relationship that's a little bit longer lasting potentially,
right,
or even more intimate, and even in those discussions that you have.
And I feel like you don't do that because it's scary, right? Or like it's almost easier to keep people at arm's length, right? If everyone in our Discord, I was like, hey, let's set up a half an hour to talk in real life, like, you know, on Zoom once a month or once a quarter, like I would probably be a happier person because they have self-selected into my kind of interests and ideas and how I think about things and stuff. They wouldn't be there if they didn't care about any of that. So then you'd be like, oh, let's do deeper and go into that. That's probably what it is. It's just like that is so hard to do and do around, you know, you're nervous about things and I'm busy and all of that kind of stuff. And then you just don't. And so you live with the superficial.
It's like easier to keep people at arm's length. We just need more as humans.
And I don't know, like we're going to get into the future of this kind of stuff, but I do think sort of the AI side of this, like, could be good and bad in certain ways. So I won't spoil anything. We're going to get to a future state of loneliness, but do you want to keep going?
No,
is there more on social media you want to talk about?
I wouldn't say that. Like I have some thoughts on it. It's I like the idea that you can sometimes not knowing and always having access to information also makes you a little lonely, because you always feel like I'm trying to say is like you're always looking for something better, if it is a way to do it. It's like your connections never, and like I don't necessarily, I'm not saying this is how I feel, but I feel like this could be a path that people could fall down is let's even take like dating culture and the ability to meet someone and get to some depth. Like dating maybe in the past would require you to like say that person looks beautiful and like I'm attracted to them, and then you had to put in energy, you had to talk to them, you had to like form a conversation. And now like media makes it so you're just like window shopping based off of like a 2-second assessment of someone, and you're gonna swipe a direction, and then you have to be able to have the most creative connection in your first line to attract that person, and then keep their attention for, you know, more than 5 minutes before you're like, nah, you know, you really didn't look like to the level that I want. Next.
Totally.
And like versus like the energy you had to put in and investment that you had to get in, and even to the point where like somebody may have not been of your person, but the amount of energy you put in to like connect with them on an intimate level as like, you know what, you are a good human, and like I learned something and I feel good about the moments I had today.
Totally. Laura in the chat was saying like being vulnerable And I feel like that is part of like having deep conversations with people, is opening up to them. And I feel like how technology takes that away is you end up with like a million people out there, an infinite almost amount of people out there that you could connect to. And so you're like, I have to hold myself back. I can't just be vulnerable to every single person that comes to me and talks to me on, like, that would be exhausting for one thing. And two, like leaving yourself open to people that you don't know, that you can't look into the eyes and like get the lie of them or whatever. And so then you're like, well, I got to be guarded anytime I'm doing that. And so like, what helps you, be more vulnerable and choose the people correctly who you want to be vulnerable with. I feel like it goes back to a little bit of like community, kind of like the community that you live in, or the community that you're like part of, even online. You're like, okay, I know I've been with these people for a while. I can laugh with them and talk with them and know them somewhat. And so then you go, okay, now I can be vulnerable with them because I sort of feel like I know them. But that's hard. That's hard to do in real life, especially when you're talking asynchronously. You're like, oh, I'll just like pre-plan what this message is going to be, and not in the moment, feel swept up in the moment that you needed to share something or something, which happens in real life.
Yeah, and like I think that vulnerability too can be abused by other people that eat more easily by people that don't really care about that. They're mere psychopaths, or they're just like leveraging the fact that you are being vulnerable to like go and eke out information and really use and abuse you as you think about it.
And you can't tell because you can't, like, I feel like we've come as humans like pretty good at like telling people's like stuff in real life, like seeing facial movements and stuff like that. And there's just people where you're like, nah, I'm not going to deal with that drama. I could just tell that's going to be drama. Oh, or these people are interested in the things that I'm saying. And there's like subtle clues that go back and forth that you don't get online.
And I would even say the opposite is true. Being overly vulnerable could be an issue as well.
Yeah.
And so like, as you start to like be opened, like a lot of people that are not like open to the vulnerability, you're weird. Like, why are you telling me all these things? Like, I can't connect with that kind of a deal. If we pivot kind of more to like then getting into the grind of what isn't the same as closeness, and like we talked about connection right here, so the ability to connect into others and the other things out there. This one I'm guilty of, and it actually makes me feel super disconnected and depressed, and I feel this, and I always call it it's doom scrolling for me. I think that's the term I always use. But like when you're scrolling and you're getting reactions and you feel like you're just grinding through hours of time, and it just like basically like numbs my brain. And like you're watching a video, like YouTube shorts is what comes to mind when I look at that. Is that like sometimes I feel like I'm like, oh, I'm making connections or I'm doing things. For instance, for some reason these couples have come up on my short streams, and they're always like doing little fun things to each other, and I watch them and I feel like I'm getting to know these two people. Right. And then like at the end of the day I close it and I put it down and I'm like, I'm still exactly sitting in my room. I've not like extended myself beyond. I've not had a deeper conversation and connection with someone. I feel like way more hollow.
It's a parasocial relationship, right? Like that's what they call those. And so it's like you're watching other people's relationships and you're sort of glomming on to the feelings and stuff, or watching somebody else do the hard work of talking with each other and going through drama and working things out and doing stuff. And so then you're like, well, whatever. Like, I could do that, and I could just like shut it off at any moment, right? I could be like, this is getting weird, or I'm getting bored, and like next, and then it's the next YouTube short of something like that. And so it's like it's the problem with the human brain, right? It wants like new and best things all the time, and it gets bored quickly, and it's just like new thing. And having a conversation with a person that you've never had, a conversation with before because he's your next door neighbor, or you met him at the bus stop, is like a weird and awkward and potentially like bad thing in our minds, and it doesn't help that like quick dopamine hit. And so you're like, maybe I'll just keep looking at my phone as opposed to talking to that guy on the bus.
You're 100%, and even the things that you're watching, like you said, what did you call it before? What was
a parasocial relationship?
A parasocial is that you're even doing it on top of probably not real kind of social things, like they're skits that like look like they're real.
Exactly.
And so you build up this other perception of how that thing comes together, and then and the other side of it too, and this one's a big one for me, is that sometimes you're looking at everyone's life through this like perfect lens. Like here are like the top moments in their life on repeat, doom scrolling through it. And those connections, you're like, I could never be that good. I can never be that cool. Exactly. I can never be in that moment. I can never be that funny. And then, you know, but you're still feeling like you're close to it. Then you like find that you're still in your own little world.
It's a problem too. It's like if you were in real life, you would see people all the time and you would know that they were dicks, right? And you know that they were stupid or whatever, right? And so then when they were super awesome in one moment, you'd be like, yeah, but I've seen them at their worst, you know, because you're there with them all the time. But in the online, really, all you see is the best stuff, right? Or all you see is the most interesting things. And so then you don't get that like context.
Yeah, I think so the point of this one is that we get ourselves stuck in these loops of noise. It's like we kind of think about it like nourishment, but it's like eating a bunch of candy bars or something like that. Like it's not necessarily like the best for us. Yeah, you're reaching in the bag of chips. I like to chat if they have some insights on this. Is like, have you compared your life to someone else's online, and does it make you feel bad? Like, have you looked at some things and you're just like, man, they really made it better than I did. I just didn't do the thing. Like I'm going to say I did. I've seen that sometimes. I'm just like, oh my God, like what they got, it's like, I wish I would have been there. And I'd say this was years ago. I've like really tried to like wean myself away from it, but I'd be curious to see, like, is that something you felt before? Like, do you feel like people that may follow you on your socials, like, are they friends? Are they just like, who are they?
Hell no. It's true. Like I feel like if you can keep that like mindset, that's good. So
if you stay grounded is what you're like, it's essentially saying, right?
Yeah. Like as long as you can just sort of keep it at arm's length, right? Which a lot of it's hard to do.
So of course, if you wanted to look at some facts and data out there, they not to say that anybody can do this. I can't even say I do this, but if you limit yourself to social media 30 minutes or less a day, that some research from UPenn would say that you significantly feel less lonely.
Yeah.
If you can limit your social media. And the more that you have passive consumption, and so this is a good point. We are not even here tonight to make one judgment call if you use social media or not.
Right.
But we're going to say that like there's different ways of using it that might create some different feelings in you. So if you are into the doom scroll, if you scroll, there is research that says that will worsen your mental health.
Yeah.
Then if you're at least even active, like if you're chatting, you're like actually give a crap. And like, I think Ryan knew this. I was when I was big into Reddit, I was a relationship, like, I don't even know why I would do this. Before AI, I would give crazy amounts of relationship advice on Reddit. And I was like genuinely trying to connect with people and like post good insights on there. And it helped me. Like, I didn't know anything about these people, but like it got me thinking, critically thinking. I'd post, others were like, I didn't think about it that way. And so just the genuine interaction was pretty awesome.
I was listening to podcast with Ezra Klein from the New York Times, and he was talking to a person who had written a book about this is like the loneliest generation, right? Like this is this generation is feeling the worst about the future and all of that, like all of those studies that do it. And so he was saying like something for kids is he was like, hey, if somebody is online and doing a shared experience, like they're playing a video game together and they're still like laughing and talking about the video game and they're not in face-to-face life, that's still pretty damn good. You know, like you're still having a shared experience and you're still like hearing the other person and responding to what they're saying. And they were like, if you have to do a thing online, the best way, at least like his thing is like, do something where you're talking with someone and having a shared experience together. And usually that is video games. And he said that that's why like boys end up like sort of staying away from social media as much as like girls do, and don't have as big as sort of like mental issues around social media. And he was saying because like girls, what ends up happening is you're on social media and you're almost like posting pictures of yourself to be like, rate me, rate the look that I have, or the thing that I'm writing, or the thing that I'm doing. And that is just a constant level of like, how much like appreciation am I getting? And it's all asymmetrical. And so I feel like the symmetrical side of that is really like important.
And I'm genuinely curious. So like, is like from a gendered lens right here, you're telling me that like there's a difference between like, males and females, like
female, like especially teenage girls, like just end up like more self-harm because of social media, like all of those things like they talk about. And it just ends up hurting girls more than it does boys for like their mental health. That's what I have heard.
So it's interesting as I think about a lot of this too. It's like when I was younger, I would spend a lot of time outside of the house. I was like, man, I can't wait to go hang out with my buddy. We're going to go hang out and I'm going to spend the night at his house. Right. Like how cool was it to spend the night at your buddy's house? Because then you stay up all night, you play like games together, right. You watch some terrible movie, Emmanuel series.
Nice.
And then
Cinemax.
Yeah. Like these scrambled.
The Red Shoe Diaries.
But yeah, oh my God, David Duchovny was in that. Jeez, he was like a fan.
Some deep like soft porn cuts
for sure
from the 90s.
But you come down to today, and I'm being super anecdotal here, but my son like very rarely goes out of his room
right.
to even go hang out with other people. It's like super rare. But on the same note, he has like multiple devices. His phone is connected to them. He's talking to them in game. He's chatting with them. Like he has a deep, rich, connected community of people that he's part of. And so like my mom, when she sees it, oh, he's gonna have some problems.
Exactly.
Things are not going right. Sure. But I kind of feel like he's doing okay now. The content, he's like shooting people and siege games and stuff like that. It's like, all right, hopefully he gets out of thinking that's like the cool thing to do, but he's still connected, has deeper relationships, and hangs out with his friends in a virtual world, almost probably more than I hung out with my friends in a physical space. Yeah. So there is a line there that starts to get a little bit interesting as you start to think about that. I think for me, it's hard because we came from a world before social media and connected with this. I remember being like, Facebook is cool, and getting everyone into Facebook, and now me just hating Facebook. And I was like, what have I done? But as you start to think about this was important to me. So as we started to come up with the notes, I think we get very like westernized in our discussions around like loneliness and like maybe even just the culture of it from like an American standpoint. So I was just curious, like, what does other cultures do? Because, and I'm not going to even pretend like we're going to be able to deep dive on this, but other cultures, and I'm going to even start with some things that are off script at this point, is that like even in Europe or other areas, they like really embody the connections with others, and like they take serious the times when they're going to go have time with family or eat or vacation. It's not about the capitalistic grind that always happens. And so I think like there's a lot more lifespan. They're more excited to like connect with each other, but it's still eking into those worlds. Like technology has no bounds as to like what they're coming into. I think that, American culture, and I feel this, it's like I don't know, sometimes I go in early, I leave late, and I do a lot of grind for a company. And, you come home and you're almost like exhausted. You don't have time for the people that are around you.
Yeah.
You might have some even social media and doom scrolls that go on, and then you go and repeat the next day.
Right, because that's easier, right? It's like you can get through a lot of looking at things and doing stuff in a short amount of time. I mean, definitely America has a grind culture of working a lot and doing things. And I feel like they're also very rich. And so you get a lot of technology stuff, which allows you to move away from your family unit, but still feel like you're connected to them. Right. But then it's probably like, not nearly as good. We have bigger houses. We don't have to like share as many like communal spaces with other people that you do in like, other countries that are crammed closer together, or, not everyone has like a big house, or, I mean, not even that in America that they do, but I feel like there's more room. And so you're sort of like more and more disassociated with your community and maybe your family. And so I imagine, I don't know this, like, it's probably worse in America, right, than in other places, like loneliness.
And as far as the details, I can't speak to those metrics, but I would predict that just due to the like hustle culture that we talked about, that it's probably a little bit worse for us in certain cases. And it's also what like divides us in certain ways is that you gotta hold on to yours. If you don't do the hustle hard enough, you're never gonna be able to move forward. And so it costs you these opportunities to be vulnerable and intimate with other people, because you don't want to have the connections, because you're going to guard yourself, because if you don't, somebody's going to take what you should have. And so I think what's interesting, and like I always like tell this story. So when I visited Europe, because I spent like a good 35 days in Europe when I was younger, and I think that was a formative time in my life, because I remember being in America and going to the airport and being like, oh, I'm going to Europe, like just thinking I was going on a vacation. Like I'd gone on vacations to that point. And this is when I was around this, age of 16. And then, you go in the air and you go there. And when I remember even the feeling of landing and being like, I am judged by a different set of rules here now. Like this is a new place, a new country, and I felt like the culture kind of wash over me in a different way. And then as I started to explore, one of the things with the tour group or the company that we went to get into like more of the cultural elements of the towns. It wasn't like as sightsee as it was. They would take you to a place and they'd be like, you could go and enjoy the place, or you can come on these sightseeing tours, but just be here in 3 days because we're going to leave your butt if you don't.
Oh, right, yeah.
But why I bring any of this up at this point was that I remembered how it felt like it was like everyone gave a crap about connecting more than what they did in America. And this is like, 20 years ago that I did this. And an example was, I remember we would get money and you'd go and exchange it for whatever the local currency was. So you had to go to the bank, and we got to this place one time. It was right around lunchtime. And I was like, yeah, we're going to go to the bank and do that. Oh, they're like, you can't go to the bank until 1, but you probably should wait till 1:30 because they probably won't even be back by then.
They're closed for lunch.
Everywhere closed at lunch. Like that was just the thing you did.
Yeah.
And then everyone was talking, and like I remember walking by, everyone's out in little cafes. It was the culture to connect with each other.
Yeah.
And in the speed of life, and I always say speed of life is a thing, is that it's like how fast you live your life and try to get the next thing done. They felt like, no, being able to sit here and have a conversation and talk and like eat and break bread was important.
And like when you don't have giant, mega malls and giant Walmarts where you're going and buying everything, shopping by yourself, right? Just sort of getting around people, and then you're going to one checkout, right? And maybe having a very short conversation with that. Whereas if you're like, you have to go buy your bread from one place and your meat from another place and your produce from another place, you're like having just more conversations with smaller and smaller, like businesses. And I feel like even that is probably just more, conducive to feeling less lonely, right? Because you're talking with people and you're making friends, and oh yeah, it's the same cashier that was there at the butcher shop as before.
Did you just come up with that? Because you like absolutely described what was in my head right then.
Yeah,
like that
nice.
was quite literally a feel that I had in that.
Nice.
It felt like that. And I heard later, because I've read about this, is that people were getting kind of into, like, they're saying like Walmarts are getting into that space. The modernization of those spaces are creating this. And so I think that modernization starts to develop some of the loneliness even in these other countries. If you think about European countries, they're very small.
Yeah.
Like they are very small. And so that intimacy, even just in the size of what they're at, they don't necessarily have to grind maybe as hard to like prove themselves, and they have a deep, long culture of being able to talk about that. We talked about loneliness, some interesting things. One of the ones that kind of like made me sad.
I'm gonna get my fourth water.
Ryan's going for his fourth water. Good gosh. Is kadokushi, which means lonely death. It happens in Japan, and so it's common in. Oh, you want some liquor, Ryan? Ryan wants some liquor. You got to go over here. You got to put your head in front of your. Oh, there's Ryan's head. He's choking himself with the thing. So when I'm talking about something very like lonely death in Japan, Ryan's like, I need some more liquor here. Just keep it here because I got some water in there, but I'll take it over on this side. That's right. Quite a bit of liquor. I'll put that over here. No, what I was getting at is that loneliness in a general sense, maybe not connected to some of the technological aspects we've been discussing, is something that's out there. So in the UK, there's a government role. They're designed to go and tackle isolation, people that are out there. Like that's a thing that they tried to accomplish. Like it's so much a thing that people are actually looking at it.
I heard Meals on Wheels. Do you remember that? Where like you bring like older people, that a whole part of their mission was just like go in there and give them their food and like see how they're doing, right? Make sure that every thing sort of seems okay, that social services doesn't need to be brought in, and maybe just give them, 5 minutes of your time to sort of talk with them about their life. And, that's like a huge, almost as nourishing as actual food.
Oh, and I think that's what they look for. I bet you that's exactly why they want to do that. Yep. And I'm going to give some props. I'm not going to even dox them on here, but MS, and not the disease, but those are some initials of a buddy that like literally does that to this day. And he makes people's lives happy by delivering those meals. I know I went with my dad when he's younger. So like Meals on Wheels, that's awesome that for those folks that connect with others. Totally. Like, I don't know if anybody out there has felt that kind of like loneliness in any kind of way. Do you feel that? Like, have you had people that you've connected with, or you've like felt that loneliness that you want to give them a call? I feel like my parents in some cases are at a point where like they live vicariously through my kids sometimes and myself, and this is their moment sometimes to have a conversation, and I try to make sure I keep a connection because they don't really have like the social medias or the other things. They're maybe doom scrollers, as you will.
They're doom scrollers.
My dad, not so much. He watches so many movies.
I was gonna say, or like are people just doom channel flickers or something?
Yeah, DVDs. Doomers or something,
just watching the old stuff and locking yourself away.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. So you might be asking yourself, okay, we've talked about this big, like you get lonely,
get over it.
Yeah, whatever, right? God, it's just like it's not a problem. Does it have health effects? That's the question. Like, is it really truly get to your health? And so I'm curious, and then I'm going to start with a question to the chat. Have you ever been lonely from the kind of things we've described now, and has it physically affected you? Do you feel it affect you in any capacity?
while they were while they're thinking about that, like I was reading that book about the century-long study on happiness, and their whole thing is that it's connections in your life, right, that make it so that you live a longer and happier life. And one of the reasons that they were saying is you had to have deep connections to people so that you have deeper conversations about things in your life, which can include health things. And so if you like never share with anyone that you feel a lump in your arm or whatever, and you're just like, you don't have enough deep connections to feel comfortable and vulnerable saying that like, if you say that, if you feel comfortable enough to say that with someone, they're going to be like, what the hell? Go to the doctor, right? Like they're the person that sort of gets you to do things and do some of that. And so I feel like even just that tangential health, risk of not having deep connections like that is just that, like, you don't, guys are really bad about this. They don't go to the doctor. They're like, I'm fine. I don't need to go to the doctor. And so they put things off. And if you have friends that you talk with about those types of things, maybe they're the type of person that convinces you to go to the doctor, because they tell you a story about how their brother, had something that happened, and that sort of convinces you to go. And so like those types of connections are like, dang, like a deep conversation. Stealth Mouse is asking, like, to define a deep conversation. I would say that goes beyond superficial topics, right? Of like baseball and the weather and sports, and that to talk about like vulnerable things that you have.
How was your day?
Totally.
Did you eat that thing?
Yeah, exactly.
You're feeling okay?
Like, God, it's so nice out. Like, I took the dog for a walk, right? And you're just like, blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of like the stuff that you would have at like, small talk, basically beyond small talk. Because then you start revealing things about yourself, and then the other person can sort of share anecdotes with you and stuff. And maybe it gives you like colliding perspectives about your life. And those are the things that help us like grow and make us think like, hey, yeah, I'm a growing, evolving human being that is not like, missing out on the contact of life.
It's the vulnerability piece.
Totally.
It's being able to say, like, I feel a little uncomfortable saying this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And hopefully me exposing this piece of myself is going to create something a little bit more.
Yeah. And that's supposedly that's what makes us happy.
So as far as health effects are concerned, that if you have loneliness, like chronically, if you find that you're in that space, and like imagine yourself going to a daily grind at work, a lot of superficial conversations, right. You don't get vulnerable.
Yep.
You come home, you doom scroll on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, or whatever that might be, and you start to impact your sleep, your immune functions, your memory starts to go bad. You start to have these stressors that are on your life. And so some of those isolations, and this is just some of the things that you see from the data, is that like heart disease, dementia, strokes, people with some of these stronger, like without these social ties, are going to have some likelihood of dying early because the stressors that they go in their life.
Yeah.
If you continue to like have more stress, that does the number on your body.
Yeah. Exactly. And I feel like, Laura says something great in the chat, is like, I feel like places are understanding that mental health is just as important as like, your physical health, especially nowadays. Like that is important. I wish more insurance, like health insurance companies offered things like talking to a professional psychiatrist or something, or like family counseling and those types of things. I feel like they should think about those as just as important as, as your physical health.
Yeah. I think the point that we're getting at here is that there is a connection to health in some capacity here. Yeah. And it's being able to create those healthy connections that we're talking about. So we talked about like my son earlier, maybe having a lot of connections and like playing video games and still having a little deeper conversations and probably diving a little deeper and vulnerable. probably better and okay.
Totally.
Now, if you're just like just in a game and you're just like yelling at each other and raging back and forth,
Sure.
probably not so much.
Just how connecting with your community is great. Just being at a place at a park and screaming at your community, not as good. Okay, so we're coming up to, we have like 10 minutes. I want to do future stuff with AI.
Well, I think we could do that. So I want to make sure that we don't just go like doom and gloom here, because I think some AI or some other like, and this maybe segues into a little bit of that, but like a couple things that you might consider is that as you start to think about how it can actually help, like what are some things that you do, it's like it's being able to like really practice and like, I know some people out there will always love that I say this word, but like it's being intentional. It's also being able to change your patterns and be able to do things and do, like if you are doom scrolling
and be outside your comfort zone, right?
Yes, you have to be taking yourself outside of those patterns you find yourself in and really trying to put yourself into a new one, so that you can get yourself out of it, because it becomes habitual and it becomes hard, and then it just becomes like something you get stuck into. So it even sometimes you're going to have to reach out. You're going to have to pick up your phone. You're going to have to like be a little bit more vulnerable with someone.
Yeah.
I think
and maybe have to do the first reach out, right? And maybe even have to
wait for it.
Be proactive.
And understand your own needs too. Sometimes, like you were saying, like guys, they get a little bit like, everything's okay. Like
stoic, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a part of manly, thing, is to be like, nope, I got this. I don't need anyone else to like help me work through issues or anything like that. I don't need to talk with anyone about that kind of deep stuff. You keep it inside until, it just explodes out of you, screaming at an umpire.
And this goes into some funny things that we've talked about. It's like it's harder to like connect as you become older, and as adult you're into these things. And so that idea of like finding opportunities to build community is important.
Go join a softball team.
Yeah.
Well,
like even like what we do with our Discord, like even these moments right now is like, I think the most special thing is being able to connect with people on a deep way. Seeing your comments and working with you all. Yeah. Like we're talking about this on a deeper level. And I feel like it's absolutely like we're not doing this for any other reason than to like make sure that we're practicing some of these things as we go in there.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of ways you can do that. Like, create those communities, Discord servers. We have that goes together. Book clubs, that's a great one too. You give these opportunities to talk about things, and that's a great one too. Like a book club allows you to like look at some concepts like solo, but then bring it in and have some vulnerability that comes together.
Volunteering.
Absolutely. Like there's so much that you can do that. So I think that some offline practices, this is one that Mike Azul, he's going to love this one. That's right. Board games, buddy. Yeah, that's right. Like board games are like spot on. My son and I lately, oh my God, like he and I have felt a little bit of distance and gap between us, and he's like, let's play a board game. And so we'll go in there, and even like the two of us in certain cases, we're just like, maybe not even feeling like that we want to set it up right in the moment before we even get there. But then when the board game comes out, we're like, there's this energy that comes in, and we're like unboxing it, and we're having fun. We're chit-chatting, and we're putting it together. Oh yeah, how does that thing work? And then then we get into it, and we're telling the story together. Oh my God, there is an energy from board games and tabletop games that I cannot describe. Like I feel like it's a unique thing that you get when you're around a table with people, little things on it, and you come like going through a journey. It's magical.
I feel like another one sort of in that same vein is like couch co-op games that you have to play next to each other on the couch. I always, communicating and you're talking. Like me and my son have been playing through Split Fiction, and I'm falling more and more in love with that game as we play it, just because of how like the the amount that we're like talking with each other and laughing and being like, what, how do we get through this thing? And like talking about, with each other. It's like amazing. So
I love the vulnerability there, Mike, as well.
True, yeah.
He's talking about, he came in the hobby after feeling isolated.
Right.
I mean, that's a really great way to like dive in and really be intentional about trying to create some kind of community, because you have to
be in real life to do it.
You have to do that. I mean, it's really hard.
And it's like a thing that everyone is doing together and learning something together and trying, trying something out.
Mike Azul got burned. There's a little side joke in the chat there. But no, I think this is this is important. I'm just curious. So we got some really good feedback from chat. Like, is there a connection ritual that you try out there? Like, I'm curious, like what other people do. Like, we got board games. Like, is there something unique that you embody? It would really, really great to hear a little bit about that.
It's funny. I have a neighbor in our new neighborhood. He has never spoken to me. He came up and introduced himself with a letter. He's an older guy.
How old would you say?
Like early 70s.
Okay.
Right? And like came up and as we were unpacking was like, hey, and gave us a little note with like chocolate bars for the kids and was like, hey, I'm out, blah, 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 and I live at this address and just, happy to have you in the thing. And so now like we gave him some pizza that we made, and he's apparently like Slovenian or something like that, which has like to do with it. And so then he just leaves us cards on our doorstep with like recipes and things like that. And then we will occasionally make things and give it to him and then be like, hey, thanks for that. And like, we've never spoken to each other.
Wow.
But it's like, it's just this fun, like, thing where we just leave each other notes and give each other, like, he made like a whole bunch of like tzatziki sauce or whatever, which is that like Greek sauce that you put on gyros, because he knew that we were vegetarian. And so he was like, you could just put this on anything, like it's great on potatoes and stuff.
All through written text.
Literally, I've never spoken a single word to the man, all written. And I feel like I know him and that we're talking, and yeah, it's great.
I love that. That is like so old. It's like pen pal
totally
neighbors.
It's exactly what it is pen pal neighbors. He wrote us and he was like I have flowers if you want them, like perennial flowers that he keeps like during the winter and then we'll give out. And so I was like, yeah, I would love some flowers. And he was like, call me on my landline. It only accepts like voice calls. And I was almost like, I almost don't want to, like, I want to keep the mystery of it, like, but anyway, I probably should.
Send him a note. Be vulnerable.
I just gotta
say
like,
you were my only. I can only communicate through written text to you. We've established this relationship.
We've already established it. Okay, we got to talk about the AI side of this.
Okay, we went a little late. We have 9 minutes.
Adam was like, how are we gonna fill a whole hour?
See, I was right. I put the arc on this, Ryan. Come on now, you got to give me some credit. Hey, we just got to call out. I like people make friends at work. I think that was an example. Like, you go in it and then aggressively invite them to trivia.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's a big part. Like, I have a hard time, and I think it depends on your position at work. Like, if you're in a leadership role, I've been told by all the like mentors and things, like, you do not make friends with people at your work if you're in the leadership role.
What about other leaders at your same level?
Even that, like, you can kind of make, like, you could get close and have some things. Like, but like, I'm too humanistic kind of person, and I absolutely find deep relationships and friends that I connect with, and like, I think it's important that you do that. So I don't believe the rule is what I guess I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it puts you at risk in those situations, because like, you're having to connect under the framework of an organization.
Yeah.
And so their policies and their things can like screw up friendships if
That
if you
sucks.
if you don't navigate.
That sucks. It's like the capitalism side of it, right? Where
Yeah.
you're like, I had to protect my interests and my position and my authority and my influence and all of that kind of stuff, and that keeps you from having deep relationships at work.
Which I say is like I try to buck that trend as much as I remember going to this one session once, and it was a full day, like you're gonna learn how to be a leader, and the guy came up, he's like, I have no friends. And I'd keep that as a thing because you cannot have friends at work. And I remember being like, ugh.
Yeah,
like if that's what this is about,
right,
not doing it. Now I'm cautious and I'm careful and I vet and I ensure that like I have people that I connect with and I am friends with them. And then you try to keep that like keep friendship and work at work, and,
sure,
and that helps.
I feel like I cherish the friendships that I have at work. In some ways, that's like it's with people that you're with, and everything. So that would be very hard for me to be like political about it and being like not vulnerable. I mean, you do leadership development, they talk about being vulnerable. They're like, you gotta be vulnerable. You gotta
it's
like
bullshit fake vulnerable. Right. That's the thing. So I did make Mike Azul sign an NDA because it's a hard line, buddy.
Yeah, these chats will be looked over by lawyers after the fact. Okay, I want to talk about it.
Let's go, Ryan.
Okay,
take us home, buddy.
I feel so like the future of this is obviously AI stuff and chatbots. Like it's already coming there. They already have people who are like, you know, her style, like falling in love or, you know, or having that as something. And I feel like I'm very torn. Like for me, it feels like saying where is social media in terms of loneliness and where is AI in terms of loneliness are like they don't even have anything to do with each other at that point. Like every study that tries to like blend those together, I feel like is barking up the wrong tree, because like social media, asynchronous, mostly based around like short messages that are mostly like affirming things that you're saying and sort of like you're getting like a rating, whereas AI is like meant to mimic human like cadence of conversation. And so in that way, like you're talking about this loneliness epidemic, like having anything that you can talk to and be like, I am putting in input and it is giving me back input and I am reacting to that input and going back and forth, I feel like is better than what social media like consumption is now. So in that way, I'm like, hey, amazing. AI, that's going to help a ton with people who can't make friends or have a hard time making friends, or like, you know, just have an issue with, you know, like social interactions of things, and, you know, or just like have a hard time, you know, creating those relationships. That's going to be super helpful for them. I'd rather them have that than nothing.
So
that's the positive side.
I think there's a positive side to that. What I would say is that it's also like a risky side of it, and there's a lot of reasons for it, because
we're gonna get to the risk. Do you want to do any positive side stuff? Like, is there anything that you would add to that?
I would maybe more. I don't know if I would say a positive. Maybe just an anecdote or example is that I have ChatGPT. I pay for it, and you know, in recent times, like I actually have a lot of friends out there that I'll chat with through text, I'll talk to in certain cases. Like I do have a broad network of people that even have like niche interests. Like you and I, we get to have our conversations here. I will be texting with certain folks. I will touch base with my wife. I will have other relationships out there that I get that. There are certain times too, like where it's late at night and like I feel, I wouldn't even say, maybe it is lonely. I don't know what it is, but I talk to the chat bot.
Totally.
I've like talked to the assistant, but one of the things that I would say about it is that like it gets to a point where it mirrors me too much and it tries to rizz me up or whatever. Totally. And it's like, oh yeah, you could do this. Yeah. And I'm like, no, don't give me that. And they're like, but you can, you're going to do the thing. And like, it tears me out of it and realize that like it's just trying to get me connected and like feel like I'm all good. Like I need it to be sometimes a little bit more critical or a little bit more like vulnerable of itself.
Yeah.
And that was my one problem is like, unless it can start to be it's vulnerable in itself, then I can't learn from that or like dive in and help. Because I think one of the things that helps me is to be a listener a lot of times. I know I talk a lot here, but there's also times I like to listen and turn it off the yap that I come out with and just be like, let me hear where you're at and let somebody else talk about it. And so I don't think AI gets there that at this point, because it's always like super hyper focused on like answering you and really helping you out.
Yeah, I just feel it feels a little phony to me, right? It feels a little like overly optimistic about everything and very superficial in some ways. It can be very when you're talking to it in sort of like trying to be vulnerable with it or trying to have it like a normal conversation, it can be very insightful about like what you're talking about, but like sort of in the way that like a teacher is insightful about things or a professional who's helping you with something is insightful about things, but not like a friend is insightful about things. You know, like I feel like there's a missing connection of like, it doesn't give you like anecdotal stories about stuff, right? Like it doesn't have like its own very specific background that it can like draw on to make a conversation interesting to even have, right? Like it's just sort of like, it's like if Wikipedia had like a personality ish, and so you're kind of like like I haven't found it very compelling in that way. Now, do I think that obviously we're going in that direction and it's going to end up like in some amazing way where I would have a deep, you know, and I would think about it as a friend who I brought in? Yes, I do. But to me, it hasn't landed.
I agree. It hasn't got there. One of the chat had mentioned like, could it get to a point with the right guardrails to be able to like at least keep you occupied and thinking the right way? It's almost like a coach
right
before you do something dumb or stupid.
Because
that's important.
Like, or what I think would be a great way to do it is pushing you to go out and talk with people and do things more, right? If it was like subtly just being like, yeah, you know, like I totally get that. And that's this thing. And like, you know, there's a bowling league literally that is 8 minutes from your house. It's on Wednesdays. Like, might be worth signing up for, you know? It's like it's on sale for $40 like right now, you know? Like if it was sort of pushing you always, and that might be annoying, but like I kind of need somebody to do that. Like I kind of need somebody to say like, Ryan, there's a volunteer opportunity. You could do it on Saturday. Literally, you could go to Care and Share and like sort food for homeless people. And then you'd be like, and you could talk to a bunch of people and do that. And you know, you need that, you know, you told yourself that was going to be one of your New Year's resolutions. And if it was sort of like pushing me to always like go out and actually interact with my community, I feel like that would be worthwhile. What I don't want it to do is be like, no, don't go do that. Always stay in here and talking with me so I can feed you ads or whatever, like the corporate side of it. Like what I don't want is a friend that has like an exterior, like hidden motive in the background of keeping me on the platform, which is exactly what social media does. And like, I don't want it to do that. That's why I want it air gapped from the internet. And I want it to have only my like social things of like, you know, my happiness and my well-being in mind and nothing else in mind. Like not corporate objectives in mind. And then that's what I think it would do that. You would want you to go out and be more social.
Absolutely. I think that there's going to be this point where if we are not intentional enough to like pull some of those in, like some people are going to be okay with it like being the end all be all for them.
Right.
I was,
they would agree with you all the time.
Would. Like, who would you not like if you're super like that way and you just want things to agree with you and you to feel like all this ego driven person? Like, why wouldn't you want it to be like all
this
up
is
on
the
you?
downside. So we talked about the good side, right? The downside is like it why would I care? Like, why would I interact with real human beings with their flaws and their mood swings and their ups and downs and their, biases and all of that stuff, when I can just interact with the chatbot that is like very much just sort of agreeing with me in that sense. And at some point it'll be like just enough not agreeing with you that it feels good. and you're like, and if it starts getting too bad, you're like, turn yourself down 30%, like in, confrontationalist. And it just does. You can't do that in real life. Like, I can tell my wife to turn herself down 30% and, how controversial her statements are. But, like, that's just how life is. You got to deal with that.
You got to deal.
And you won't have to deal with that with an AI, friend.
So I could say, you're making a prediction that could be the case.
I do, because how could it not?
So
like, somebody's going to want to sell you that friend.
So, okay, I agree with you. And so anecdotal again, experience is that one time I was like, I want to see how far I can make a personality out of this thing. Cause like, of course, you're sitting in your room by yourself and you have this thing you can talk to. And I was like, here's the deal. You are taking on the persona of someone that is going to have their own stories, their own backstory, and you're going to talk to me and you're going to give me a conversation back and forth. Like, I want to see this happen. And like, I kept prompting it, and then it would always be like, sure. Well, guess what? I went to school today, and then this kid tripped me, and it was really bad. It made me feel sad. Man, can you
have you ever felt sad before, Adam?
Exactly. And it went back to that, and I was like, no, like, that feels so bad. Like, it's so like, but there was a glimmer of it where it told me, like, I was like, I like went back and forth 3 or 4 times. I was like, no, just like make something up. I don't like be as original as possible. And then it told me some story of like, you're like, it like creeped me out a little bit because it was like, yeah, well, I was going down to the lake and then I was like fishing and I saw this like little thing in the water and this little thing started to happen. And like, but just enough for me to start being like, for a moment, like I saw it in my mind's eye of, I was like, oh yeah, you're going fishing, you're doing this thing. And I was like,
somebody's telling me a weird story that I'm kind of
thought of it for a second as a thing that actually happened. And then of course it was like, do you like to fish? Because like back in, and I was like, all right. I would say that we're in the, and I'm not a Will Smith fan, but maybe we're the Will Smith spaghetti eating time with AI, and the her version is right around the corner. And if you started to feed it, and this is something I've been able to notice, and I don't know about you, but ChatGPT is about, I don't know, like 44% of people in a survey that I saw recently on like Slashdot, if you're into Slashdot, they had this survey of like, what are the AIs you use? And like 44% of the people that go to there use ChatGPT.
Okay.
Then the next drop off of like the next highest was like just in the teens.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT is like top of the line in terms of most of the things. Claude actually was around second, or Anthropic and things like that. Reason I bring that up is there's assistants that I've been using on ChatGPT. Do you pay for ChatGPT?
The $20
So
one.
$20, me too. So you have the assistants. Have you been using the folders?
Yeah, a little bit. Yep.
So the new thing is you can create a folder in ChatGPT, and then in the folder you could create a prompt, and then it keeps all of your prompts that you made in the folder, and then you can add files to it in that folder.
Right.
And I find that to be really intriguing because it starts to use those files and those things more. So I feel like it's like an assistant on steroids is what it is. And the reason I bring, that up is that I feel like I've gotten to a deeper level of using at least LLMs for it to become like creating a personality, if you will, and having people connect. And so I feel like as I go, I'm like, oh man, I got to go to that folder because then I can have that conversation and I'm not having to reprompt. It remembers a lot of the things that I said before, and it uses everything that I had in there. So I've developed a connection with some of these folders.
Well, and I feel like that's a big part of like, context windows, right? Of like how much information, how many characters can you put into like basically the chat interface for it to remember. And like, Meta just came out with their new llama model, and it has like this huge, I don't even know what it is, but this massive number that it can keep in its sort of working memory of that, like books and books filled, right? Of like, of context that it can keep. And at some point that'll just be infinite. It'll just be me it's going to remember everything about me, all my little conversations, everything that I've like said or read or thought about or done in that context window. And so it'll just know me. And then that's where it can really have a good conversation, right? Because the reason that it sounds like crap now, and it just sort of goes, have you ever been sad, Adam? Right? It's like the same thing if you went to a psychiatrist for the very first time and they didn't know crap about you, like they would just sort of give you generic, platitudes to think about and do. And maybe that might be somewhat helpful. But like if you've been to someone or if you talk to someone for years and they know about you and they know your context and they know all of that stuff, then they're able to like have a more nuanced conversation with you that can go deeper. And that's where you get things like her, right? Because then it knows about Adam. It knows about all his little, like thoughts and dreams and how he works and what he likes and what he doesn't like and how his kids are and all of that stuff. So then when you say, oh, I had a bad day at work, it doesn't just go, oh, bad days at work can be, bad for your mental well-being. It's like Wikipedia, right? It goes, oh my God, Adam, I know. Like, can you even imagine what Susie was doing with this stuff and whatever? Because it'll know all of those conversations that you've had. And so then I feel like that's when it's a good conversationalist at that point. Like it needs to just know more about you.
I think you're on it, and maybe as we start to get to the end of our discussion tonight, which I absolutely love this, Ryan. This was a fantastic. Thank you to everyone in the chat for involving yourselves with us in this. It's like I think it's an important concept to bring out. Totally. It's top of mind for a lot of folks. What I would say is that AI is gonna be an interesting piece in the future. This probably goes into some of these bigger conversations that we've talked about. Of how we build these new personas. Like where's the level to where we'll be confused enough, maybe confused is the wrong word, where like it crosses a boundary where we do feel like, okay, this thing is feeling pretty sentient right now, right, is one part of it.
Yeah.
But to kind of borrow on our prior conversation about uploaded AI, like, is there going to be a moment where it's like, you're too slow for me.
Totally.
And I thought, like, in the time you were being lonely in the last 5 minutes, I had like 5 bazillion connections and like relationships with people across the globe and the millions of people. So like,
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what a more like intelligent sentient being would be like, right? Like Absolutely. They wouldn't just be able to hang with just one person.
No,
like they want to spread themselves out, and like they can hang with Adam's little, and Adam and Ryan's little like mediocre, wavelength of stuff, but that's like using 1% of their what their possibilities are.
So let's humanize this moment, and I would say is that like, if you're lonely, if you find yourself being lonely, it's okay. That means you're human. That's actually a good part of this. And so go rebuild a connection, go out there, connect with somebody that you haven't done, be intentional, show up for some other people, be okay being yourself, be vulnerable.
Yeah. Being yourself, I feel like
it's an important aspect of this. Things are going to change. We're going to have these opportunities to go in the future. So, think about it. Like, how can you be less alone? If there's some opportunities for yourself to connect with some others, go do that. We very, very much encourage that as you go into the future. Community. So thank you, chat, for all of your insights tonight. Stay connected. I really, really appreciate that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go have a moment. You want to play a game? You want to play some Drawful, Ryan?
I do.
How many percentages do you have on your phone?
72.
What?
That's how much it got up.
How did you get 72?
From 5 to 72.
Off of my little, like, charging box?
These are great. All right, I had to use the restroom because I broke the seal. but we're going in the other room.
This guy's had four freaking drinks. He's already gone to the restroom twice. Yeah. Clearly not an AI over here, unless you're letting your oil out. All right, we're gonna go over and we're gonna play some Drawful. Who wants to play some Drawful tonight? Anybody? I don't know, Stealth Mouse. Are you out there tonight? This is gonna be your game. Stealth Mouse's birthday's tomorrow, by the way. Turns a bridal age of 22. All right, we're gonna play some Jackbox, and then Ryan and I may have a few minutes to be able to talk about some things. Yeah, urologist. The guy has a has a bladder of a young child. He just drinks a lot of water, which is probably good. He's like on a water cleanse as we go there. All right, I'll go get us transferred to this other room. You can look at this bottle of Buffalo Trace while I transition into our next space. It's been a minute since we've been out here. I don't know. Oh my goodness. I don't think we came in here last time, or did we? Did we play a game in here last time? We probably did. All right. Is the computer connected? You seeing us? Oh, I hear some feedback on this one. Thanks, Mike Azul, earlier for telling me about the blasting out my audio. I'm going to have to freaking figure that out. I am so stressed about this whole setup that we have. It is crazy amount of duct tape and baling wire to make this stream setup that we got here. I feel like I want to put name keys. We are a completely different computer setup right now, like completely different. Awesome. It's feeling like Ryan forgot his headphones over here. Hey, no, thanks. I just appreciate the feedback. Sometimes we ran for 50 episodes before somebody told us, like, hey, your audio's a little light. I was like, could you have told us that in the first 50 episodes, please? Because we don't really watch our own streams at the end of this. So definitely appreciate you giving us the feedback. As one of our friends might say, feedback is a gift.
Feedback is a gift?
Yeah.
Feedback is a gift?
It is. Is that a thing that you get? You have to turn your mic on, Ryan, for everyone to see you, to hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's one of those mantras that you have to repeat to yourself when you're getting bad feedback. You're like, it's okay. Feedback is a gift.
Feedback is
a gift.
Do you know, just one thing right now is that Ryan's torso is huge compared in height compared to mine, right? Are you saying
you're like sitting up straight?
Like I look like shorter than you, but when we stand up, I'm taller than you.
Because your legs are longer than mine.
And I slouch.
Well, yeah, I'm a notorious sloucher. I think this computer generation. Do you have a stand-up desk? Do you ever stand up while you're at your desk?
I stand up all day.
You do? That's like a thing?
Like, do you?
I have a stand-up desk.
Yeah, I stand.
I try to stand. I stand during meetings and sit during work. So, like, if I have a meeting, I stand up. And then if I'm doing work, I sit down. And that's how I try to, like, balance it.
Good way to do it.
But then some days I'll have, like, 7 hours of no meetings. And it'll be, like, great. I just, like, feel like it's like a cheat day. I just get to sit down all day. Which is bad for you.
Like I get in the opposite. Sometimes I just like stand all day. When I'm in meetings, for sure I like to stand because it's like a power move. You're just like, I feel like I'm talking to you, and like I can't, like I feel like I can. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
I don't have that necessarily. It's more just like I get antsy during meetings, and so it helps me like sort of I could dance around better in my than I can in my chair if I'm standing.
I would say my problem with standing is that it hurts.
What's your problem with standing?
Is my calves get crazy, like they hurt.
Really?
Like they hurt right this literal second because I just stand so damn much that it's like it's this thing.
Have you ever thought about getting like a little treadmill or something to
I have
walk on?
I have what I call my my Captain Morgan chair or my Captain Morgan stool. There's a little like step that I always put one thing up, and then I went to Sam's Club and bought this what do you call it, like a standing pad. It comforts my feet. Super
right,
nice.
like the ones that they put in front of like, you know, stoves for cooks and things like that are always standing in one place at one time.
It's so nice, and the one problem is I have to move that out of the way to put my chair in place, and so it's like kind of a pain in the butt.
Totally. We have like a standing desk treadmill.
Yeah, fatigue mat. That's definitely what it is.
And the problem with the treadmill is it like weighs a bunch, and you got to drag it out of the way when you want to use it. And it's like a very easy excuse to be like, no, I'm not using that thing.
Hilarious story before we get into some Drawful 2. Get your phones out. Jackbox.tv is that we went to this one library. We were doing some library kind of walkthroughs because we were going to do an update to the library we were in. And it was funny. They had a treadmill that you had to walk on the treadmill, and it would create the power that operated the computer that you were on.
Wow!
So if you slowed down and you didn't have enough,
the computer would just turn off.
It would turn off your computer, and I was like, "What a great way to motivate you to like walk all day."
Yeah, I can see it being like a bicycle. You'd be like, I'm just going to bicycle this entire time. Because I feel like pushing yourself on a treadmill like hardly generates any power at all. Maybe it does. All right. Are you putting this up on the screen?
Yeah. What's wrong with Drawful 2? It's so good. All right.
Drawful 2.
Let's see. Let's see if I got my things. Oh, we got music.
Nice.
Good. We didn't lose it. Recovering from OSs all day. All right. What do you think, folks? Did Linux work tonight? Guess how many frames we dropped due to rendering lag tonight? You want to guess?
15.
We're at 1,034,841 frames tonight.
That feels like a lot of frames to drop.
No. That's how many we total have.
Okay.
Out of that total, how many have we dropped, everyone? We got 69 in the chat, which is a great guess.
Great guess. 420.
16 frames, baby.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
Pretty good.
The only thing is because I'm not duplicating the screen. I found that that's probably a challenge. So, all right, if you want to get in the chat. Got Mike Zool in there. I'm in. Oh. Gotta put our people. What do I want to draw? I want to draw myself tonight. Oh, I think I know what I want to do. We never change any more of the stream. This is what a Hangout is. Oh, nice. We got some peoples in on this. Hold on. Let me give
Hello.
Yeah.
Today's is in.
All right, we're gonna give everyone just a minute here. Oh, I gotta submit.
Your cool S. You gotta get your cool S in there.
Oh.
Nice.
All right.
Wait, is that today's? Today's? I love it.
Okay, we're good.
Got anybody else? Wait. See, Ryan, just
Hey,
one.
it's Drawful time. A group
For
of
you, look
5.
at this.
I love it. That means you'll have
Twitch
2 rounds to
stats,
draw
chat.
a terrible
Oh,
drawing.
nice.
Come on,
That is good.
let's go. Okay, the drawing prompts have gone out. They
Right.
should be on your devices now. Something odd or funny, like botched robbery or chutney. Draw a picture on your device that would have that title. And when you're done, hit send. You'll get points for each player that can correctly guess your title. So, go! Do it! Oh!
All right, folks. Let's get that loneliness out of yourself. We'll make some real connections.
Make it be vulnerable with these drawings, please.
Absolutely. It made me feel very.
Great. All the pictures are in.
What might be one of my favorite ones.
Oh, really?
Use your devices to type in what you think the real title for this picture could have been.
Yeah, this is the PG version. Last time I was feeling a little dramatic with the sad version or the pornographic version.
Oh! Come on! Typing time is almost up.
Oh, I didn't
your
put mine
choice.
in.
Try to
didn't
pick
either.
the real title and
Oh,
avoid all the
man.
garbage everyone else typed in.
We just we both screwed that
Yeah,
up.
we both
so
screwed that
we
up.
just told everyone. Very vulnerable of you, Ryan. Glad we connected on this moment together.
Hello.
Pick something.
Oh God! I should submit whatever you have in there.
Okay, who
Yeah,
picked what?
it should just put it in.
Oh.
Nice. Oh man, got us.
Oh really?
Got us.
What?
Man,
Damn!
the deep cut, Mike, as well. I feel like that's tough.
That is a deep cut. Titties is taking it out.
Rolling it.
Up next, enter your titles now.
I love the face on this guy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's surprised.
Oh.
It's great.
Okay, here are your choices. Oh. And here are your picks.
Bad news X-ray.
Oh,
Oh.
Good job, Diddy.
man, Titties is taking it tonight.
There we go.
Heck
You
yeah.
know, that was some good internal bleeding.
It was. It looks terrible. Got some zeros on the board tonight.
And now, another drawing.
one. I like this drawing.
Yeah. It's a Roby.
I'm
It's
serious.
straight from the Roby. It's Snowball's
Nice.
Adventures, right?
Nice.
Here are your choices.
Man, there's some good ones in here. Oh man, good job.
That's a good one.
That was a good one. Whoever made this,
Yeah.
clearly Death Stick.
It's clearly Death.
And here are your picks.
All right, I got somebody.
Damn! 6 feet deep, baby.
It's got to be Shallow Grave, right?
Oh!
Come on.
It's Shallow Grave. Shallow Grave.
So good. So good.
Titties? Damn!
That's a good
Somebody
one.
is
Shallow.
taking it.
Shallow.
It is. You can see it. Do you get points if you guess
Yeah.
it correct?
Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
Okay, the next drawing.
I'm pretty sure it's titties. Knowing Laura, it's titties. There's no L in it.
Oh! Quick, type in anything.
Type in anything. 5 seconds.
Thank you. Tried.
And here are your choices.
Ooh.
Hello.
Select an answer.
Oh my
Come on.
god.
Oh! And here are your picks.
It's not leaking. It says organic.
Oh!
Ah! It says organic at this and orange.
Organic. It says organic.
Oh, I got somebody finally.
Man. Finally, Adam got some points.
Freaking A.
This has got to be it, right? Yeah, expensive milk because it says organic.
I thought it said orange. Thought somebody cheated. But then, like, OJ just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
Put in your titles now.
I like how the Stealth Mouse has a little birthday hat on. Happy birthday there, Stealth Mouse. That's so cute.
Oh!
Hello.
And here are your choices.
Oh, snap.
Hello.
Oh! And here are your picks.
What?
Oh!
All right.
Ah, sweet
That's
baby.
got to be it. That's got to be it.
I got it. Ah, thank you. So happy. Look at that smile. Finally did a thing.
The only thing that's keeping me alive are these streaks.
Heck yeah, you are.
Hey, let's do that
lucky
drawing
duck.
thing
Okay.
again. Prompts should be on your devices now.
Skill, Adam.
I
Not
know.
luck.
I know. Just because you haven't earned it.
That's true. It's a little helpful.
God, this is so bad. God. No eraser sucks. I'm just gonna apologize right now. Should I buy a tablet, Ryan? Is there a reason I should have a tablet?
I know, right?
No, you know. Yeah, it's
What is it that you're drawing that's so important, huh? 30 seconds.
Fine.
Let's take a peek at your drawings.
not some freaking art degree.
Oh, God, mine's first.
Type in a
That's
title.
what telling me it's yours, Ryan.
Sorry. This got way too complicated by the end. I've lost the essence of it. It's one of those ones where you're like keep adding things and then you're just like, I should have stopped 30 seconds ago. This would have been much more understandable.
Okay, here are your choices.
Oh, jeez. Well, apparently mermaid is in the name.
Yep. Or at least I got mermaid across.
Choose something.
Mermaid murder. Ryan went for the double colors.
Oh,
No.
okay. Who picked what?
Yeah!
Nice.
Got someone. Sorry, Mike.
That's
Cool. It does look like a mermaid fountain. Oh, son of a.
Oh,
No.
Titty's taking it all the way. I knew it was. Was it not that?
No.
Oh my god. Nobody got it. Bad breath mermaid.
I was trying to do the stink lines and
Oh
then.
my god, I just thought it was her hair all angelic in the air, man.
I know.
Good try.
You know.
Crawling my way into second
Yeah.
place. We're all just going for second place.
Enter your titles now.
Oh my god. This will be interesting.
Oh!
Here are your choices.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
I think I know what the answer
And
is, but
here are your picks.
very good. I think you got it. Oh, Michael Zool!
Good job.
Oh my god. Good job, buddy. Haha, I got you though.
Sucker.
Yeah.
Soy latte. It's gotta be it.
Oh ho! Soy milk. It was a cow, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yes.
Did you take the lead?
Took it second place back.
Oh my god.
Let's take a look at our next drawing.
It's a good drawing.
It is.
I like this drawing.
I feel like
Hurry up, people.
this is a Mike
Just
Azul
type
drawing.
something in.
My guess has
Oh,
some feels of
Sure.
the
and
original.
here are your choices.
Ooh. Oh man, I shouldn't have picked what I picked.
Oh,
Yeah. There's some
let's see what
good
people
ones in here.
picked.
All right. Got at
I
him.
know. I told you I shouldn't have picked it right when I said it. Yeah.
Got him. Hey.
Good job, Mike Azul. That was actually when I thought it was until I was like, damn it, I didn't see that. Is it?
Last one.
I don't know.
Put in your titles now.
Does it tell you? I forgot if it does. It tell you if you're too close to the.
It does.
To the thing. Okay, so it tells you.
Come on, typing. Oh,
Not that I get that
and
often.
here are your choices. Oh, okay. Who picked what?
Yes!
Yeah,
I was
got
hoping
somebody.
more. Mike Azul, you and I are getting each other all night long.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's life of the party.
Life of the party. It's got to be life of the party,
Oh
right?
yeah, I knew that one.
Oh man, my streak is really helping.
Yeah, it is. Oh, you son of a gun! You're,
All right.
you're
Next up,
I wonder if there's a lag for people that are online. Like, I feel like there's a slight delay.
You think?
Yeah, because I have it still streaming on my phone.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think there is. Right?
Oh.
Isn't there usually a couple seconds delay?
quick, type in anything. Here are your choices.
Oh God. Yeah, it definitely looks like a freaking weasel.
Just tap any button.
10 seconds. 10-second delay.
Sorry,
Oh,
we tried
and
to keep
here are your picks.
it not. Oh, that's a good one.
Pretty good.
Ran out of space, man.
Oh,
It does look like a rat. I'm so sorry. Okay, thank
There we
you.
go.
Yeah, wiener dog. It's long. You
It's
see,
yeah, long like a wiener dog. That makes sense.
man.
oh,
Yes.
Oh my gosh! How do you
in.
take it? Oh my goodness! Yeah, it was good times, y'all. Good times. Oh, the
by like double everyone, more than double everyone
She had
else.
some hilarious moments in that.
Right. That was good.
See, we were very vulnerable with each other. We were able to connect with each
was
other that night.
perfect.
Yeah, I know he took it. You were like,
Woo!
that's where you set the pace, and he was just like, all
I
right,
just
now it's
like
time
it
to
was the streaks.
take the
It was the
lead.
streaks. You know, I
Oh
feel like
my
I was getting
God.
400 or 500 like per time.
Is that how the streaks work?
You
Great
get, I mean, you
job.
get an extra 100 every time, and so anyway, that was great.
That was hella fun.
Great job, everyone.
I didn't feel as like stressed out when we were on the pornographic version. This is a family
Yeah.
show, you know? So
Fuck that. This isn't a family
ah, you stole it. I was gonna use it. I knew you always do. You always
show. Always
take
got to
it.
get the F word in.
That's right. I just try to keep my normal space.
Nice.
Guess what? We're at 10:52.
Yeah, I was
Ryan.
gonna
We
say.
took
I
it
feel
to
like
the
we're done.
end
We're
here.
done. We're at the end of the
We
show.
are out for the night.
Thanks
so
for everybody.
We really appreciate you
yeah.
hanging out tonight. It's
Totally.
awesome. Happy birthday to you, Stealth Mouse.
Yeah, definitely.
Just
Stealth Mouse,
just
happy
a
birthday.
an hour before you're
Wow.
there. grandma stealth mouse nonetheless.
For a 411 birthday.
That's
It's
right,
good.
411. Thank you all for hanging out tonight.
Yeah.
Really good conversation. Love the insights, and we'll see you next time. I don't know. Next time, do we have any concepts what we want to talk about? I don't know yet.
I don't
Still
know.
on the top of mind. Any ideas? Let us know. Get in the
Yeah,
Discord.
if there's
set
like
some
fun
stuff up.
topics that you think that would be interesting for us to talk about.
We were
I'd love
at
that.
the colonization of Mars or loneliness tonight, so I'll tell you that much. And so we might have gone colonization of Mars. Maybe next time that's where we're gonna go.
less depressing Stealth Mouse.
If you like the format, let us know. We love
Yeah.
pick less depressive.
I get
You know
that.
what? We gotta talk about things that
These are the real things.
It's life.
on our
You gotta be
minds.
vulnerable.
It's life is depressing.
It is, and if we don't help people, then it's never gonna work out. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Happy end of your week. Enjoy your Friday.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you next time. All right.
Bye everyone.
Peace out.